we feel we can actually provide a service where we can give them a stipend to go to GED class. So that is something that's huge when you have a kid that's not really want to go, but if they're going to get a stipend to go, that may be a big deal to them. And also, the population that we can serve that a lot of people don't think about is your homeschool population. Because maybe you have a kid for some reason or another, they have opted to go the homeschool route. And maybe the parent doesn't know how to get them started. You know, we can offer Penn Foster, and then you will still count that kid, you know, on your roster and that certificate, because it's still yours. We're just helping them get there. The services that we offer, Jenny was talking about, you know, we do personal responsibility, we do finance classes with them. They get a wide array of services, and we just try to keep them engaged, and we offer stipends. You know, if you do this.
Yeah, we would love to think that they were intrinsically motivated, but they're just not. And money, you know, it sells, and we like to believe that they're learning something along the way and that they are going to finish these things.
And I've had kids that try to go through the class and they're like, I'm done. And I'm like, you didn't pass, try again. And, you know, when they have, some of them have to go back 2 or 3 times before they finish it. And when they realize they're not getting their gift card until they actually do the work. We get that a lot, but then they start getting pride in what they're doing. And they're like, hey, I finished another one. Or I'll get that phone call, I only have 2 more classes till I get my Penn Foster. And, you know, when they get that, even if they're in your GED program, when they get their GED, they get a stipend again at the end. There's a $250 stipend for actually completing.
No, 100 for the GED.
Oh, yeah.
250 for the occupational.
They do an occupational skills training while they're doing that. So we try to really keep them engaged, because I know a lot of the times when you have a student, especially who's doing homeschool, let's just be honest, they're on there the bare minimum that they can do. And like Jenny said, we would love to say that they're just going to be motivated and they're going to do it. But if
they're not.
If that was the case, they would probably still be in school.
So the referral process for you all. A success coordinator emails you, because I don't see anything online about youth builds on the Mount Rogers New River website. So I didn't know, like, what is that?
There is a page on there that has lists out all of our grants, but we start all of our programs together that they start off by completing like a pre-screening. So if you go on our front page, there's a link that says applications, and on that is either a pre-screening or the main application. So if you have someone that's underage, that's where we start getting squirrely. We want to make sure that it's okay with you all for us to serve the kids. I mean, if they have already dropped out or they're 22 years old, then we're not angsty. But if they're underage and you have a success coordinator who wants to refer a young person to us, it is optimal that they email us or call us to let us know, hey, we'll have Susie Q completing a pre-screening. Can we work together on this one? And so that's what we would do. And optimally, it's just work in partnership so that what we're doing is in sync with what you need so that the kid can graduate.
And Jenny has what do you call that? The re-engagement.
Yeah. So there's a way, like if you have a kid that is really at risk and has been truant, we have just a simple form that's called a re-engagement form. And the success coordinator can complete that form and give that to us, and that triggers us that we're in agreement with this kid working with you all through Youth Build. And then that way the kid is not a dropout for you. The kid is continuing to be enrolled in your school system.
Jenny, I have a question about back to the homeschool. And like if they're homeschooled, then we remove them from our role, and I don't understand how it works works with Penn Foster, and then we also get credit for it, because once they're off our roll, we're not gonna get ADM.
You don't have to, if you choose to keep them on your roll and choose Youth Build as a homeschool option, then you don't have to remove them.
You can count them as a transfer, like transfer to homeschool.
Or you can just continue to use it as an alternative education program. Y'all are still doing ISAP is, okay. So, you know, there are school systems that do not remove, like if you have a kid that's, I'm just gonna go get homeschooled. If the family decides to do a program like Youth Build, then you don't have to classify, you don't have to remove that kid from your school system. You could count that kid as a re-engaged kid, and they are still currently in your count. They get their, Penn Foster is a high school diploma, but most likely when you do your count, they're not getting your Giles County Public Schools diploma. So it would be unless you ask us, hey, this kid only needs science and math and 1 English credit, perhaps looking at those 3 Penn Foster classes and counting them, possibly, okay, this is what some schools do, counting that as your English or science or math credit, and then the kid, through this alternative program, could potentially earn a high school diploma. So it's just up to how you all want to organize it and how you want to
So the family would have to be willing to re-enroll them back in Giles County Public Schools in order to get them a high school diploma.
That is correct.
So they transfer to this program, they complete the GED through you guys, and then they transfer back, and then they get a high school diploma.
Well, or I would say Penn Foster, because once they get a GED, once they get.
Okay, so they do Penn Foster, and then they come back, and then they get a high school
You
diploma.
never have to remove them if they opt to do this alternative program. There are some schools that just say, talk to the family and say, here's an option. It's an alternative, and that's what we don't advertise it because we just don't have the capacity to take on hundreds and hundreds of kids. So we do kind of work with the school systems, and we've talked about this. How do we really let your success coordinators, your guidance counselors, figure out who might be suitable, who would they talk to us to enroll them in the program, but if they need just some credits and they can interested in fulfilling the requirements of Youth Build, which is not only the diploma option, but they also have to do the foundational training and the occupational training. And if they're like, no, I'm not doing that, then they're just not suitable.
Right.
And then just maybe your ISAP or whatever.
Yeah.
So the kid has to be willing to do these other things. But you could treat it as another alternative education program.
How do they get around say like for instance, a kid's a sophomore and they want to do this, and they're gone for 2 years and they come back and they haven't passed any of the SOL requirements. Is that the SOL requirements no longer applicable because they're in Penn Foster and then they transfer, and when they transfer back to us, it's gonna show they haven't passed their SOLs?
Yeah, we've never had to, in Youth Build, deal with SOLs. I had a previous program that I worked with a school system that they wanted the kids to take the SOL test. But right now, with Youth Build, and if they're going the diploma route through Penn Foster, and if the requirement is for them to take the SOLs, we would just have to work together to say, hey, we've got these kids and we need to make sure that they take the SOL tests. If they don't, I'm not sure how your school system handles alternative, diplomas, if you even want to go that route. These are just options that are there that can possibly happen if this is how you all want to, use a program like Youth Build to help these at-risk kids remain engaged in school. You know, if it's an SOL, I mean, we're really creative. We'll do whatever we can to make sure kids get what they need to.
I think just sitting here, I think we you know, just as one board member, I think what we ought to do with this is, you know, I think there's some issues that at Lisa's level, that the central office level, we just got to look at to make sure that whatever we do, we're engaging in, we're not adversely affecting our school accreditation versus truancy dropout rates, what have you. And conversely, some of those programs may help that. But I think, you know, I think that's a discussion there, and I do think that we find somebody that's a point person to engage with you guys, and then also get our folks, our student success coordinators, guidance counselors, and secondary administrators that are going to be dealing with these kids and identify them, to know who they are, because if they do drop out, we don't want to give up on them, and you know, those may be recovered. So I think that's where our opportunity to work together is.
Yeah, just try, like you said, the recovery piece, just trying to, you know, recover them, really trying to prevent the dropout optimally, but you know how some kids can be once they have it in their heads. But, you know, if we can't prevent it, then just trying to recover them. And then what do we need so that this satisfies the requirements for you all, so that it's you know, you're not jeopardizing, you know, you're not having some issues dealing with the kids. So, you know, we'll do whatever. We have to take guidance from you all. You know, we have a program, it's funded. These are the certain things that we can do. And we're more than happy to work collaboratively so that we can take your lead in terms of what works for you all, so that it's a benefit to you all.
Is that the consensus of the board that we want to move forward like that? Anybody got another idea or?
No, I think that's it.
I would like to, Jenny, if you could email me like the other divisions that are doing this, and then I could, you know, reach out and ask questions about, you know, the only fear that I have is, you know, like we have kids, I'm all for the optional, you know, getting everybody, I'm all for this. We just need some, you know, guidance on, you know, I don't want a kid to come up and just like, you know, this is easier. I'm going to transfer and I'm going to do Penn Foster English, and I haven't passed any of my SOLs, and I haven't passed 11th grade English and 12th grade English, so I'm going to take Penn Foster English, and then I'm going to jump back and I'm going to graduate. You know, we need to, that was just my
That's
fear
always been
there.
our fear too,
Yeah.
and that's why really we just kind of hold back. When we get someone calling us and they're under 18, we're like, oh no, you know, what do we do? And you know, and I know we've had some conversations. Dr. Arcas and I have had conversations. So it is a very delicate situation, because I've seen before. I was around when ISAP first started. And in droves, everybody thought that was, you know, I'm just gonna go get my GED, and you know, it's a good program, but you don't want it to jeopardize, you know, and that's kind of where we are. It's like we have something, but we don't want. That's why we're really quiet about it, because we don't want to cause any problems. And if someone's dropped out, that's, you know, and then it's official that they dropped out. It's not a problem, but if they are currently in school, it is a problem for us, because we don't want people to think that there's an easier way, because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we don't even have the capacity for lots and lots of kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking, I don't know, 5-10 kids that are really in jeopardy of dropping out, or who have dropped out. And if you have dropouts that you want us to reach out to and try to re-engage them, to me, that's really, in my mind, the better use of a program like Youth Build, is to re-engage those dropouts, as opposed to letting the word get out there that there's an easier way, and then you've got mess. We all do, you know, and so that's not what we want. You know, we want to try to help kids without causing problems.
And again, I think that's the reason we want to work off a referral basis from the schools, not just
Yeah.
putting our flyer up and saying,
Right.
hey, come do us
Yeah.
because we're.
Yeah, I've seen problems like that in the past, and it's just not been pretty, and that's why, we know we don't have the capacity to, to take on a ton of kids, but we can help re-engage. I mean, that's our primary goal, is to try to re-engage the dropouts, and get them some services to try to get a job.
So this is just a question, if you have someone who has opted to do homeschool now, do they still have to come in and test with you to show? Okay, that's different than some other schools that we work with, because even though they're homeschooled, they're still on the roster, and they have to come in and test every year to show that they've made advancement.
You're supposed to turn something in, right?
Yeah,
You're supposed to turn something in, but, with school accreditation, that's kind of a slippery slope there, because if you have someone that's homeschooled and they sit at school, they sit at home all year long, and then you bring them in to give them an SOL test, that goes against your accreditation, and our teachers haven't laid hands on them all year.
I agree.
And so, then you're testing them in math, you're testing them in English, and then we have to put all the things in place to remediate children that we don't teach.
I
So
totally hear
that's
you.
why.
I don't think they're bringing them back into SOL tests, they're just making them show improvement.
Well, that would be like if they go to, like you say, Penn Foster or Time to Learn or whatever those other.
There's a bit of that one.
And they're supposed to do that, but what children are doing now, they're checking religious exemption, and they don't have to turn anything in, is what they're doing, because they found that out after COVID. So just my fear is requiring them to take an SOL is then hampering a teacher that's worked all year and remediating and putting everything in place that we have to offer, and then a kid come in and then it hurts their scores.
I completely agree with you, and I just think for you all, the best benefit in my mind would just be, let's target the dropouts. We've talked about this, we've had, we've had a number of conversations about it. Let's target the dropouts. Let's help the kids that are in danger of dropping out. Because then it doesn't become this little, thing of, ooh, I'm just gonna, check religious exemption and do youth build. No, that's not the purpose of the program.
Right, yeah.
So, and we just wanna work collaboratively with you all so that, perhaps we can help a kid by re-engaging the kid in the school. We have to take guidance from you all, to say, this is what we want y'all to do. And that's what we would do. Oh, this is okay for this kid to get a GED. Or, here are the 4 classes this kid needs for diploma. But you all just tell us, you tell us what you want. And that's what we'll work hard to try to accomplish. It's not foolproof, it's not 100%. We lose kids too. And there's no silver bullet for any kid that's in danger of dropping out, because some of them are just, they have their heads in that space, and it takes a long time.
And when you say you all have enough money for 5 or 6, are you talking in the whole New River Valley?
No, and I was just guesstimating.
Okay.
So like with our current grant, we can serve 66.
Okay.
And, we have.
Throughout the New River Valley.
That's the whole New River Mount Rogers region. And over-enrolling is not a problem for us, we just have to make sure we have enough money for it.
Sure.
And that we have the capacity to do what we're being asked to do. And that, if we had a number of kids that we're working with, let's say specifically in Giles County, optimally, we would need to meet with them and provide services for them here in Giles County. And so we're looking at finding a location to do those kinds of things. But one kid, it's a little bit easier. Once you start getting 4, 5, and 6, you've got a class, and so. But really the message I hope y'all take away is that it's a great program, but we have to work through you all and get guidance from you all in terms of how do you want us, how would this benefit everybody? And we just need to know how you want us, or not. here's Susie Q, and she's telling us she's dropped out. You can guarantee I'm gonna email Dr. And then, because we only hear one side.
And of course, we hear their side.
So we always have to get the other side of things, and it's always, always a little different. So, the programs can be a great service. We do like to, work directly through you all so that we're just not causing problems.
Well, I think we'll leave it at this, is that, but Lisa, I don't know if someone under your direction, I'm not gonna put more on your plate, but coordinate with these ladies and, anything that does not affect our accreditation, I think we're good with, and anything that we can do, anything that does potentially affect accreditation, I think that's a discussion at this level based on recommendations from them. But, I do think that we, should regularly, 6 months, a year, just make sure that all our secondary folks, the guidance counselors and the administrators know what the programs are. It doesn't hurt, so that we always have that, so that they can think, hey, this kid's got this problem, what we've got. So I think that's kind of where we'll have it. I do greatly appreciate you ladies coming in and educating us on it today.
Absolutely. All right. And if y'all have any questions later on, you're up, just please email. And if you need any, flyers or anything, just let us know. But, we are in great communication all the time. Jay calls me all the time. And so Dr. Arbogast, we've met, we've talked about it. So we hope to continue, just moving forward. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Nice meeting you.
It's nice to meet y'all.
Thank you for letting me go out with them. Y'all made my day.
Good. Glad you're happy. No, I think that's been.
I think we saved a few.
Isn't it like what we've always done with field college though, like in the past? Isn't it similar to what I think it used to be a school?
Similar. That's what it's still working with kids.
Yeah, that are active.
School nutrition, summer feeding, we'll come back to that. Dr. Brown had an appointment this morning. He's going to join us here in a little while, but so we'll come back to that. 24-25 budget proposal. I'm not sure. I know General Assembly is supposed to go back Monday to have a conversation about it. Potentially vote on Wednesday. I don't know if that will occur. I don't know how much you all want. We talked about the budget proposal several times, and I can go back through and remind everybody what's included and what's not included. And
Well, I wanted that on there because Ms. Price wanted the reading coordinator position on there, and that's kind of all put together. I think really that position, and then the anything we come up with on the middle school, the curriculum expansion, what that fits. And then also keeping in mind, 2 months ago, I guess it was April meeting, the board of supervisors, there was a comment made that and again, just to throw that out there, that it would be nice with the new money we've got if we started putting aside a rainy day type contingency fund. Just that was brought up by Mr. McClarney and Mr. McCoy seemed to really like that, and I just again put that out there for discussion. So if you can update kind of.
just a reminder, again, teacher assistants, I did not print off all the salary schedules again. I can do that if I thought you think you have those already. I did not print those off again, but the teacher assistants proposed for next year increasing the starting salary for 6 hours.
No, I think everybody's good. I think we're good at salary. We're just talking about positions.
Okay, teacher assistants, there's 5 new TA positions in the budget proposed. Bus drivers, we're working through on the bus drivers, looking at combining, but as the VRS will allow us for the employee teachers, the bus driver, TAs, the bus drivers to count that as credible compensation. So we're working through that process now.
By that one employee, or is that? Well, never mind.
We'd have to talk about that one. And
We'll talk about that later.
Secretaries for new The EMT position is still in the budget. Have to see if that's gonna make, not sure if that's gonna make, class-wise. There is I included a pre-K teacher in there, not knowing where we were gonna head with the Head Start conversation. And there are 4 new teacher positions included in there as well. Could be a combination, 3 STEM, 1 art, 2 STEM, 2 art. However that. Yes, sir.
What about the reading? Tell me, is reading position included in your reading position?
Reading
Coordinator.
coordinator. Reading coordinator is not included in this budget. The reading coordinator is in the all-in spending plan. And that's not incorporated in the, I mean, it's that.
It will be a position next year, it will be a position next year that's funded through the all-in spending.
It's all funded through the all-in spending money that we have. And then at some point in time, we'll have to incorporate it back into the budget if it does
If it
continue,
keeps,
if
yeah.
it continues, yes. But right now, it's out of that money that we were given for the all-in spending, which was the all-in tutoring, reading specialist, that were covered out of that, the reading coordinator, the book, vending machines we purchased, those type of things.
So is there anything that we need to do to formalize, like, try to move forward with that reading coordinator position for the county? I mean, it sounds like it's funded through all in, so we're good there. We just need to have a conversation about whether or not we want that position.
We need to have a conversation in closed session to.
Okay. That makes sense.
What about some of Ms. Barnes' request about that? With a 12-month contract for a counselor?
Did not increase any contracts for any counselors, at any school, no, sir.
Mr. Chairman, we go talk about that executive session too.
Okay. That'll work.
But that's all, those are the new positions.
And you said 4 teachers, right?
Four
I'm just making
teaching
sure I
positions, correct.
Some
As well as
Some combo.
some combination, but it could be 3 STEM and 1 art, it could be 2 art, 2 STEM, could
Yeah.
be, it's just.
Awesome.
And then plus with the conversation about Head Start, I had included that in there as well. I didn't know
Right.
whether we needed to, and some of those TA positions would 2 of those could go towards the preschool.
Okay.
As well, if that's the direction we go.
And just
That's
because,
the conversation we need to have also.
and just so that, because it relates, this next item on the agenda, but it relates to this. Mr. McClarney and I are going to go meet with the new director of Head Start for the area tomorrow morning down in Rich Creek to talk about the county. They put a lot of effort into getting that lease in the center up and going. And it's one of those things where I think the county we may be asked to foot a little bit, county may be asked to foot a little bit, but it probably at the end of the day, what we'd be looking at is, what I think would be something to look at is, what do we have versus actually adding the VPI class? Because again, the concern is, I've asked for, and there's a sheet of just services that Head Start provides that we're gonna lose for those kids, that probably really need it. So, that, with y'all's permission, I'd like to at least talk with them. I don't know what they're gonna ask or do, but we'll just talk. No, it's no committal, but just so you guys know, that was what was set up.
We spoke with them, Jessica and myself, on Monday morning. It's my understanding the plan is that site is closing. It's going to close. And I got a letter from her as well that I can pass around. I just got it in the mail today. She told me that they're going to, what they're doing is the reasoning it is because of the challenges that they've experienced hiring, retaining staff, hiring bus drivers, shortages, increased facility and supply costs, and struggles to reach and maintain the enrollment. Because there is only, from my understanding to the conversation, there's only one community that is at capacity, and that's Rapid. We are not. They're looking at doing some things, and I think they're,
What is the capacity?
I don't know what their capacity is. I mean, ours is 18, I don't know what theirs is.
I was just curious, like, what was their capacity, which I
I heard they had 15 kids.
I did not ask them what their capacity is, but I don't know that.
feel like that it could.
Well, I
It
thought
could
that,
be, I feel like it could be.
Mr. McCartney told me that our conversation was gonna be, again, the county is not giving up on that because they've invested in it. And again, if transportation's an issue, there's things that we may be able to, and we're getting that, we're gonna be on the hook for 18 kids
And we told
if that
them,
goes away and everything goes around with it.
we told them that we offered, CDL classes here, they weren't aware of that, so they could have forced, they got some people into them potentially. When we offer another one, we'll let them make sure we communicate that with them to make sure that they're aware. But they did not, reduce the program slots. I mean, their decision to reduce program slots within the River Valley. They did an analysis of, the data, detailed discussions, and the information that I shared with you. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna work on improving the services that they're also doing as well. They're intensifying their readiness services, beginning with social and emotional development and with their families and that sort of thing as well. So they're going to try to strengthen the services that they're doing as well.
Which is a net loss for us.
Yeah. But they were, again, I don't know what it would cost, and I told them that. I don't know, because I don't know what the shape of the facility is, but what it costs from the annex that we have. They're using it as storage for their maintenance. They told me there was some electrical, plumbing. I've not had anybody look at it. Would have to have Bobby look at it to see what that would cost to get
Is it
that.
sprinkler, is it a sprinkler system?
I won't swear to, I don't know that. But what they shared with us, Ronnie did was, that she thought, remember what her recollection was electrical and plumbing. And the plumbing could be the issue why backing up and flooding it so
It just, I mean, in the long run, it just could be a great spot there, just because you have access to,
There's two rooms.
right, you have access to the elementary school for the gym and for food, the cafeteria. I mean, as a long term, even if it's something, put something else there.
And I'm not asking Bobby to look at it because I didn't know what y'all's conversation was gonna be, so I didn't want to start something.
But let's just see what happens after tomorrow. If there's nothing promising coming out of that, then we're gonna have to look at either renting the Rich Creek facility or converting, finding space somewhere.
And their rent is not cheap, from what I was told.
Really.
How much?
30,000 a year.
I'm sorry, like,
2,400 a month, about 30,000 a year.
okay. Wow.
That's about the market for a nice space. I mean, it's a nice.
I mean, I haven't been in the space.
I have not been in the space either.
That's what the sheriff.
It's pretty much less than 10-year-old building. Yeah,
It's nice.
very nice.
But I mean, it's gonna have to be an option for next year until we can figure out something long-term to,
I mean, unless we're going to decide not to serve 18 kids.
no,
I don't know how we can, I don't know how we can do that.
Yes.
that's too important.
I mean, and that's where I come back to, is I think, they may have decided to close that, but if the county provides some sort of incentive, because the county invested money in that. And then if we provide some sort of assistance, again, we're gonna be on the hook, whatever that number is that you budgeted. If we're spending less than that, and serving the same amount of kids, we're coming out ahead.
And I think that through the conversation with them on Monday, when we started the conversation about us looking into renovating that facility across from the annex, they were interested in continuing to partner if that was an option. Is what I gathered.
All right, well, that's good to know. It may be ahead of that conversation, and if you call Mr. McCartney and see if Bobby, if they've shown that might be something that that's a carrot that they might like to have, then probably before tomorrow, Bobby needs to look at that. just take a look in there.
I can speak to Bobby to get Bobby to go down and look at it.
And just have him fill Chris in on it.
Yeah, I'll get him to go. Once we get done, I'll see if he can't go this afternoon.
What about Mr. White's request there for more security tech center? Anything in our dollar in your budget?
No, sir.
No.
There's no, I assume you're referring to the SRO. There is no SRO position in the budget. No, sir.
Have we had any discussions with Parisburg about potentially maybe providing additional, or any just not an SRO position, but providing, an additional sweep around campus or something like that? I think Mr. Williams and I talked to Mr. White about that.
We have not talked to anybody to see what the feasibility, whether they can have somebody drive through or that sort of thing now.
I'd ask Mr. White if we could make it have a position, another teaching position as tech center, and let them do security and do some teaching too. Well, I think we've got some people who may qualify to do both. Retired police officers. He was checking on it. His concern was he didn't think BRS. But what I'm hearing now is you got a contract for 2 jobs, or 3.
Not
I
not teaching now. If they are retired BRS and coming back, we've got to be careful. We've got to be careful so we don't affect their BRS retirement. What we're talking about are individuals. We have the ability now that if we have a teacher based on language that that's been shared with us, and I have to pull it up and I can quote it to you, that's been shared with us that the bus driving can be counted as creditable compensation for their BRS retirement when they choose to retire. Same thing for teacher assistants.
And it may be something to think as well. You were just talking about that EMT class and having trouble filling that. And given kind of the change in the tech center, the number of credit hours and all that, it may be as part of that, if we have trouble filling that class, you look at whether you can get someone that is not retired law enforcement, but current law enforcement. I know, Vernon County, cousin's husband's teaching criminal justice there, but if you had someone that could do, I don't know, it's almost a first responder, if you could do an EMT course, and they could do something out there. I don't know. I just, that won't happen this year, but it's just one of those things. If we're having trouble, I think we all thought the EMT class was going to be something that was going to be gangbusters, and it doesn't appear. But if there's something else that we could offer that would also fill that door role Mr. Williams was talking about, but maybe look at that. I don't think we're going to get anything solid this year.
Ag teacher position job, like 12 months, 12 months.
That's not in the budget either. No, sir. It's an 11-month position currently, both of them at both high schools.
I think I tell you, I'm sure day she come back. We miss her extension commission. We did a lot of work at school for extension, but she's given us 12 months. We're close to it now. I'll be able to put it all together.
But she spent a lot of time after doing after-school activities, traveling.
I understand Miss Walton, she just teach ag at her time, or she doing some other things too, right?
Now, that's what her schedule will tell you exactly what her schedule is, but it's.
Teaching ag and wildlife, fisheries.
Or something now. I wasn't sure exactly the title, but it's something like that.
And 4-H, she's 4-H advisor as well, so.
I think it's a good request. She's giving us the time.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit closer.
You gave me in Any budget for redoing those lockers in sports?
No, sir.
What was that?
The lockers and, I ain't seen ones, and I went through Giles, they pretty rough.
That's, but those sites would have to be, it's a conversation we've had for some time.
Did you look like it would cost?
To do it right, I think they'd have to be, you either remove them, have them sandblasted and powder coated, or you replace them all. I don't have that.
I think that probably needs to be rolled in, something Z-Man looks at and roll it in.
Do they use those lockers? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I mean, just, I didn't know. I mean,
They're used as long as they can be used, but some of them get to the point where they
The doors,
can't even open it.
They've rusted out.
I think if you're gonna do that, they just need to be replaced completely.
Well, something plastic or not. I think that's something we can add in, as part of that renovation cost.
just going through there and looking, like if I've been doing laundry, I don't see much stuff and I see them all strung all over the floors and if anything, goodness, stuff keeps stinking out.
Yeah, I'll ask them to add that as an add-on.
Mr. Wilson took me there and looked at his jobs the day he went in. He was talking about just not putting a place for him, just a building out of wood, a place where he could sit. Have a rack on the back of it, not locked, really not locked. And some of the stores were doing that.
Well, what theirs has got, they're not lockers, there's a lock, there's a lock box, and then it's like a college, what we had in college, it's where you got an upper shelf, you put a helmet or whatever it is, and you got a hanging place and a place underneath.
That thing open up and there's something underneath,
Yeah.
but it's a seat inside of it.
I mean, it honestly, with the moisture you got from the showers, and then you get the ice machines, they leak, and everything else, it's high humidity, so whatever we do needs to be, plastic, something,
Just don't wipe all of it.
well, that's just not gonna rot or rust.
Yeah. I was thinking more of outdoor, see what you want to put stuff in.
Anything in the budget for restrooms on the side field, jobs, fields up there?
Restrooms
On the side, on fields.
at the football field?
Right.
No, sir. No, that, we're gonna talk about the six or seven things that we asked ZMM to look at. We're gonna talk about those as well today, so
I just want to ask questions.
I need some guidance on, we need guidance on those.
As always, we'll talk about these other things.
I think, lately our focus since we've had this big project is roll everything into one facilities and have mainly what this budget we're dealing with is a bit more of a personnel talk.
But yeah, I'll touch base with ZMM to make sure that they add, look into locker replacement at both high schools and add it as an add option and it'll be some kind of composite material that we don't get into the same issue that we're in now, where they bind and rust and.
I did have one more. I was asked about the review boards. Anything, which review boards
We'll continue to buy
still buying?
and we bought,
We purchased 66 this year.
we bought a load of them, so.
More coming later.
I think that's been our,
We've been
We
using,
do that like yearly, add
we've been
to
using,
it.
learning loss funding to help purchase those, as I've shared with you, and, we still have money in the budget for next year to purchase 15 more, and we'll keep trying to replace them.
I think we're down to about 40
Yeah, I didn't
out
think,
in every function. I just think we're getting close.
far.
Yeah, we do a good job of getting that stuff.
Absolutely, we wanna make sure. We talked Bridge Creek Head Start, so I'll get Bobby I'll touch base with him when we're done and, see if he can't go down and look at it. See, kind of give us an idea, give Chris an idea of what it may be to get that to be used. volunteer packet.
So I attended a really great community day session at Macy the other day. A handful of parents, some teachers, Ms. Johnson led that, and it came out during that session that we had really low returns of the volunteer packet, and it sounded like there were some concerns in the community and by parents that the packet was maybe cumbersome, and that was why we weren't able to. So I just wanted to sort of bring up if there's an opportunity for us to simplify the packet. I talked to Amanda just a little bit about it that day, like, so that we can increase our community and parent participation as volunteers in the school while still holding a really high standard of safety and security. So I haven't personally seen one of the volunteer packets, but I just wanted us to have a really great conversation about how we can make that a more approachable and a packet that more people can fill out and get into our schools and help when they need to.
I think we've had this come up since and what it is, volunteer packet is, there's some forms to fill out, but then there's a criminal background check that we require the volunteer to pay for unless it's just changed, Terry. And then there's a TB test, I think, is that, yeah. Right. So anybody that volunteers, volunteer agreement, what have you, we've got to have a criminal background check before we allow them around the kids. We got to have the TB test by the health department. We get complaints a lot. You only have to do this once, like I did mine 6 years ago when I started coaching football. And as long as you continue your relationship with the school system, it's one time.
As long as you don't have a break in 6 months or a year, then it's good.
Yeah, because we got this a lot, I guess it was last year with field trips, some parents who complained. And I don't know, I 100% agree that we need to do as much as we can, but I don't know, I think we prefer to Terry to make sure that we make it as easy as possible.
I think, just going through my mind what's in there, the background stuff that would have to continue, I would think. I don't think there's much choice. The application that they fill out, it's one page. Do we need the references that we asked them for? Probably not.
Yeah.
TV test, I would still think we probably do need to continue. Now, some of the other information that's in there, the I-9, is that we need that for a volunteer that's not going to be paid?
Not paid.
I don't know that we do, but.
I think, look at it, if there's anything we can strike out, and I think another thing that would help is if we remind folks when they apply, if we put a cover letter saying, look, if some sort of thing where the volunteer continues, especially with somebody just chaperoning.
Yes.
To where we say, hey, make sure you let Amanda know, and maybe we keep a list of it, hey, you need to sign this form saying, you're going to continue to be involved, else so you don't have to go back through that.
Right.
Do you think it's just doing those particular two things?
I mean, I think, and fortunately, Ms. Siegel was able to be at the meeting too, and it sounded like we only had a handful of volunteers at Macy specifically. Of course, that was a school-specific meeting, but it just got echoed that the packet was overwhelming, or it was too much, or it was a hindrance to some folks who might want to participate, and this just is a little overwhelming and they couldn't go through with it. So I don't know, I just wanted to bring it up as a concern so that we can continue to drive volunteerism.
And I think another thing maybe we could do, because I think one part of it, you get that fingerprint card, you're sitting there thinking, if I've got a job, where in the world am I going, how am I going to get sheriff's office?
I literally did that when I got onto the school board. I messaged Amanda 3 months later, like, I think I need to go get my fingerprints done, just unsure.
Maybe if we could look at in coordination with the PTAs, because I think the elementary schools have more of a problem, because I think it's.
That's why we're gonna get more volunteers.
You need more volunteers,
Yes.
and you got coaches and stuff, and
Yes.
people are going to do that because they don't have a problem doing it.
Right.
And I think we could approach it similar to what we do with substitutes. Each year, substitute, we send at the end of the year, we send out if you want to be on the list.
Right, are you gonna continue?
Or you can continue. We can do it for volunteers. If you want to continue, please notify by such a date. And then we can just continue that's yearly contact.
Sadly,
keep on the
everything's
list.
complicated.
And I don't know if that, I think two things we could look at from the fingerprint perspective. One, we've got SROs at the school that would, I think, qualify to be able to do that. But if not, if that's too much of a burden upon them, if we could ask the sheriff's department to come, PTA open house, get your fingerprint done if you want to volunteer. I mean, because again, to me, that and the TB test are the two, and again, maybe the health department too, those are the two most onerous things in there.
I have been asked several times about purchasing a device for the school system to do fingerprints. I have not done it yet.
Is that because it's cost prohibitive or because we have sufficient resources in the county or?
I felt that we had,
if that device is portable, to take out, I don't know.
$6,800.
But me and Rachel, like, we could be trained, and any volunteer, any employee, we can do it all here.
There's one idea that I thought maybe we could do is have a volunteer night. I think the forms when you're handed that packet, it's just like homework. It's like, I'm not gonna, if I have to volunteer, it's a lot. Yeah, but they did it at my high school. They had a night. They're like, if you want, if you're wanting to do field trips, do project graduation, anything, we're gonna have a big night. And anybody that wants to be a volunteer, come together and then you go through those forms together and they sit there and they fill out the forms. Like FAFSA meeting or something like that. They fill the forms out and then no one was there doing the fingerprints because that would also be a great idea. Like, we were there to do the fingerprints. You do the fingerprints, you do it, you turn the forms in right then, and then the board gets a list and there's an approved volunteer list that the board approves and it's done and you do it like 2 or 3 times a year. Yes. And people are like calling like, hey, when's the next my field trip's coming in? I want to do the October field trip. When can I do it? Then if somebody misses it, then they can, it would be their own responsibility to fill out their own form. But at least we could get those that are a little apprehensive about filling out the forms. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just a thought that we could probably do.
I love that idea, and I love, so that it's not a burden on the individual schools. We could do that during open house days at the beginning of every year, or during kindergarten registration, right? Because those all the kindergarten parents love to get involved, right?
Yeah.
And then again, once or twice after that through the year, not necessarily at the individual schools because that's a burden on the facilities, but even here, like a night where we have everybody can come in here and fill it out. I just think, COVID is over and parents want to get involved again and they want to help and our teachers need their help, right? And so I don't know. I'm just thinking about ways to reduce friction.
Yeah. We can look at the pack and see what we can pull out of it.
Yeah.
How many volunteers do we have?
Somebody said Macy had 3.
I think since COVID,
You got-
really did change. I mean, I know even Ayers Elementary's look for people just to do popcorn.
Sure.
Also, part of that's, you have volunteer coaches and volunteer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
We have more of that, I feel like.
You got more of that. How many do we have? I don't have any idea.
But as far as like going into schools to help with weekly things probably. And I think it starts out at the beginning of the year more. You'll see more people active and doing stuff, but then as the year progresses, then, and I know they even will send out notifications, like, I'm sure Macy does too. And theirs will send out, when we volunteers for popcorn, and we're gonna have to discontinue.
Well, it looks like, what's it, $12 fee for it?
10.
$10. We ought to pay it.
It's $37.
Something is 10 and then 37.
Yeah,
The fingerprint card is 27.
Looks like 14.
That's what the team is.
Anyway,
You can go to the health
at
department.
least they move along all the time, we'll take care of that.
But they also use the fingerprint machine for anybody that wants to sub, like a sub bus driver, or if we have student teachers. That's always the thing, like they get all the forms done, and then they come in and they're like, you haven't done your fingerprints, then you gotta call the sheriff's office and, coordinate with the sheriff's office and stuff like that. I mean, John used to come at the beginning, right, and bring that machine that he had.
For,
For the new teachers.
new teachers,
Yeah, try to make that.
It looks like, I think we're using the machine itself. Looks like it make it a whole lot easier. Really get them all that way, if you can get a bunch of them, take it to different places and keep it here all the time.
Well, this machine, you get your results within 24 hours. It's posted like an online portal. The other ones take about 3 to 4 weeks to come back.
Well, I know the sheriff's office,
They've already been-
I made 3 trips to her to get mine this time. Nobody here to deal with it.
From what I understand, I don't think all the deputies are qualified to do fingerprints.
I know I was told there wasn't nobody here to do it.
Well, and I think it's because they're not all qualified.
Well, that's the same thing in court, they don't, I mean, they say come get fingerprinted, but not all of them, some days there's not somebody qualified to get
There's not.
fingerprinted.
So if we had a machine and Matt or Rachel was here,
Yeah, keep your house here, that if you take it to school, or something, bring back the house here, keep your own.
Because once they do the fingerprinting, they work the 2 weeks before we get the results back. And then,
so you're saying the machine that we would buy, you would have it back in 24 hours?
Yeah, the results.
Yeah,
That's no brainer. We need to buy a machine.
if there's a match, it says, that they will be mailed, but they said if there's no hits, you receive the results shortly on the web portal.
What's the annual fee and what's the per screen fee?
$27 fee for each transaction, which is what the fingerprint is. Annual maintenance beginning second year. I don't understand all that.
But in the end, bottom line is, they're saving us thousands of dollars. If we had all people to do it.
I don't see anything stated.
Are we still letting volunteers ride buses, school buses from field trips?
If they do the packet.
If they completed the packet, if they completed the packet, yes, sir.
Yeah, but you got turned down the other day, you know, but I understand now why she wasn't strongly qualified. You didn't have
Maintenance at the beginning of the second year is 15% of applicable items plus $975 or $1,975 for 24/7 for the software. I'm assuming we won't be 24/7 because we won't need it 24/7. We just need it 9 to 5, so I would think we would be in the 975 plus 15% maintenance for the second year.
And we send it every year. Just.
50, 60.
Don't have some hundreds.
I was saying 50 or 60, 50 to 75, but.
So about at most probably $1,400 a year, right? So. Then I think that's, if you can fit it in somewhere, let's look at that.
We have the government school. Every other year, every 2 years, we have to ask the board to approve the agreement with government school for our number of seats. Historically, we have done 20 seats And we are up again this year to ask the board to approve that 2-year commitment for next year and the year after for 20 seats. It's for 24, 25, 25, 26, 2 years. So it's the next 2 years.
And in the budget?
Yes, sir. It's a bit, they've always been.
Are we going to field 20?
As far as I know, I've not heard.
I don't think we're gonna fill it all 20 seats
Oh, you
at this time,
Okay.
but I'll get that number real quick.
I have not heard, so I didn't.
But normally
So
we've
then
been
we-
filling all 20.
Normally we've been filling 20, so if we're not gonna fill 20, then we need to be strategic in how we do it, because we commit to 20, we pay for 20.
So if you reduce that, and then 2 years from now you need more, can you get more?
Every 2 years we can change it.
The only thing that worries me about reducing it is if we start reducing it, Pulaski as low as it is, it seems like it's improved in the enrollment numbers somewhat.
I mean,
But
it was 6 at one time if you asked, remember?
Yeah, I mean,
So
we-
it's like,
We have, I mean, the money for the 20 slots is in the budget. It's been in the budget, we paid it out, but I mean, it's been there.
What's that cost?
$38.50 a student.
I feel like we encourage.
3,850 a student.
Yeah, I feel like we do a great job of encouraging and letting people know that it's available. I
We had a
do,
field trip this year.
Took kids over
I do
there.
think it is like I said, I think we do a good job on our part of
I think
encouraging.
I would hope that, a community college campus like it is would.
Right, and that's been a great thing.
my concern if we pull back, even if we're going, next year might have problems, it's gonna send the wrong message and affect the stability of the upper school, because we've been very supportive of it. And I think everybody seems supportive. I think Pulaski's got a new school board member, brand new school board member that's their board representative on there. So like I said, I don't know. She seemed, the one meeting we had, very supportive, but their board seemed to have had a shift over the last few years. Of course, they've got a new board now. I just don't want to jeopardize that, because I think if you lose Pulaski, it's going to be, it's going to be difficult for us, if that program falls apart, to duplicate the services that they've got. And I don't,
Well, I think we've talked about it in the past, but I think we've always just kind of said, let's stay at that number. Let's just keep that and then go from,
Yes, we have stated,
if consecutively it got, maybe we could adjust it, but I think we need to,
we've
I
stated
think it's been
20.
successful at 20 for a long
We've
time.
stated 20 for a long time, and we've done everything possible to fill those 20 seats.
and the county's been very supportive of if we, how can we get more seats, because they think it's a great program. For some bias, granted, I think it is
It is.
I think it's the only, in this area, it's the only place where some of these kids are gonna feel amongst their own, from the standpoint of they're not the nerd in the class, they're the normal kid. I mean, I don't mean that, I mean that someone's gone through it, seen the other kids go through it, it's a shock.
Unless you have, I hear otherwise from you all, I think we continue with 20. We've got
I think so too. I think it is.
the 20 support. And we'll present that to you at the board meeting so that you can approve it, so we can get that back to them, so they can budget appropriately as well.
She's testing someone, so she's still getting it exact. I forgot about that.
I saw that on the
Yeah.
agenda. I'm sorry.
All right.
So the bill cut the campus, you have you're now?
New York Community College, yes, sir.
Yeah,
If you want to go over there one day, we can get Miss Phillips. It's impressive. They're using different spaces, so they've kind of got to schedule it, but
the classrooms they've got, and they were talking about how really it's actually been more of a benefit to the program than they really thought before.
It's in a U shape.
Yeah, I think so
It's all in
too.
one area.
I think it was tough there for a little while trying to decide, but it's definitely stepped it, I think it's been great. It was a great move.
And we took kids over there on the bus and they toured it and they were so accommodating and the kids were really impressed with it. So it's really nice.
And it gives them, just the opportunity of the college, like, being on a college campus and.
There's no way that we could do the level of labs in our, that they're doing.
No, if you're interested in going over there, Jay, let me know, and I can
Yeah, something.
I can talk to Rebecca, and we can go over there, because they're finished. They're not far off from finishing. They'll probably finish within the next 2 weeks, because I think their award ceremony is in 2 weeks.
They sent me an invitation for you guys to come to something tonight, and I figured, I left it at the house, so we can distribute it, but I figured it was tonight, it'd be hard for you to make it.
Yeah. Senior night.
We got some good praise from, Mrs. Cody that does the ACE program in New River. I don't know if you know her or not. Her name's, I don't know what her first name is, but she's.
Oh, Angie Covey, yes.
We were at a baseball game a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to her. Mrs. Wheeler told her I was on the school board, and we got to talking, and she said that Giles County had it going on. She said if you wanted to look at an example of everything, ACE program and everything, she said, all you gotta do is look at Giles County. She said it's an excellent job.
That's great.
It's been a great program for the community and the kids. Okay, policy revisions, I put those on there.
Let's move those to, I think we need to look at it maybe January. The policies that we've got to approve, if we approve in the closeout session, will we get to go? If there's anything that we need to approve before the next meeting, get that to us for the next meeting that we can look at. But I just want to make sure that we've gone through it because there's some options in there. I want to make sure everybody understands. So we can set that in the June work session.
We have to go through them again and see what. Is that to say that? We'll have to look and see, because I think, we'll have to look and see. So we can, we've always brought them to you to approve. And I guess what we could start doing, if you want to, is have a first read 1 month and approve them the next month.
Okay.
That way you don't get caught off guard by a boatload of them, because I think if we wait till June, you're gonna have a significant amount. We've got another round that just came.
About 2 weeks away.
How many?
We'll get another
Okay, I was gonna say, those were.
big set in about 2 weeks.
All
I
right.
actually went through them.
Put those on the next item. I mean, the next week's agenda. Then everybody get through them. If there's ones we need to discuss.
We can always pull some out if we need to.
We can pull whatever needs to be pulled out and approve everything except
Okay.
what you need to pull out.
While we're talking,
I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
while we're talking about your free college, I ain't give up on teaching some of them driving over yet. I just hit me or what, could these kids ride the road with government school kids? If they didn't have transportation over?
I guess if they're 18, they have to pass a background check.
We'd have to,
The problem with that though,
you have to keep in mind, they go to government school early and they come back at about 11:30 or so. So the bus is not over there for any afternoon classes.
Yeah, that would never align with their course
that's the
schedule.
way we have it scheduled now, is the governor school kids are there first and then the
Right.
classes start after.
Yeah,
So they're not there at the same time.
Okay, is there anyone we could ask for those going to graduate this year, is going next year, New River, if transportation is a problem for them? Would they ride a bus to one
we
early?
could ask, we could have the schools talk to those kids, the high schools ask the kids that they know are going to New River Community College, to see if transportation's an issue. I mean, we could ask them that.
Then would they ride on there?
I think I hate to push back on something that I know the intent is really good and pure and trying to be helpful. But I think if we go there, we start to open up a huge can of worms with, well, then why aren't we providing, for the folks who need to go to a different school or go to their jobs, right? Like, I think we're getting out of our swim lane and away from our distinct mission for our learners when we go there. I mean, I think the intent is pure, but I think there are other community services that those folks might need to lean into outside of what the school is responsible for, from a liability perspective and a cost perspective and a need. Like, I mean, how many students have told us that they've got that
That's
need?
what I was wanting to find out. Well, if they ask them, we know.
I think we find out, and I think there, we got to understand your concern about what we're looking at. But maybe it may be something that we talk to the county about and say, hey, if there's a need here, we'll lease you a bus. You all get, you hire a bus driver, drive over as part of the ACE program funding.
There may be, I bet there's some kids that don't have well, but they maybe go if they have ride over. That's why we take them.
And I would think a lot of carpool, there's.
Yeah, a lot of them
people
are,
that
well, carpool, but again, I'm just thinking
Do that.
our scope of what we can control and
Just
influence.
But I understand your concern about that, and I think, like I said, if we identify the need, the county wants to support that, then it would be more coming out on the ACE, from the ACE program.
Right, not on us.
Yeah,
It may not be a need, it may not be, I just ask.
Because I think if that is, I think we can find a bus to lease.
Well, and let's just be very real. The alignment of multiple students' academic schedules will never make sense for, those kids are gonna have some 8 AM courses, some midday courses, some evening classes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. Like, that's a logistical nightmare of back and forth.
Well, I understand, I just started again, if transportation could be going over there, somebody need to do something to try to help, that's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So you may not be any, but I don't mind if you ask, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll ask the high school principal, we got a meeting with him tomorrow, I'll ask him to go back and
On their exit
Could
interview,
be,
like, why are you not,
yeah.
is it transportation an issue of why you're not pursuing?
Thank you.
Just informational, summer work schedule, just to let you know, we plan on starting our summer work schedule June 10th. That's 4 days a week, 7:30 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday. That's all offices, all 12-month, here at school. So Fridays, all sites will be closed. So it'll be 7:30 to 4:30, Monday to Thursday. Just wanted to let you know that we plan on going back and doing that again as we've done the last several years. Sick leave at retirement. Sent that information to you. I have it also run off here in case that way we can have a conversation about it. What you'll see there, again, what I shared with you before, that first page, those are individuals that are eligible to retire at the end of this year, 23-24. And you see the column there, and that's titled ending balance. That's how many sick leave days that group of each individual has. I did not give you names of individuals. You just have employee ID numbers. 2 of those that you see highlighted there in red, those individuals have are retiring at the end of this year. So that gives you an idea, under the current policy, $20 a day up to $200. If every one of those individuals were to retire at the end of this year, you see the total amount. Next column shows you if you leave it at $20 and it's no limit on the days, you see how much it goes up. And that column below that shows you the difference. And then you can you can see it for $30, $40, and $50. Next page is those that are eligible to retire at the end of 24, 25. Page after that's 25, 26, and the page after that's 26, 27. But again, those individuals from the first page that don't retire, you're just gonna move them, you're gonna move them right along. So I didn't move them until
So right now it's just the two for sure.
right now, it's just those two.
Just my thought on it, I think, and I've talked to the county a little bit about it, but they're gonna do what we do right now. They're, I think they're capped at $5,000, basically it's $5,000. We're essentially capped at 4 if you look at 200 days max. I don't think it's wise for us to go past take the cap off, because I think you're opening up a much wider fiscal issue. I feel comfortable with 35. I think that takes it up to 7,000 from what it is. I think in the future we might go up, but I think we're going to face a wave right now. Not a wave, but I think there's a lot of folks that are going to retire in the next 2 to 3 years. And like I said, my concern is going to be if we're getting down to a couple of years, and if the state starts cutting things, and we're going to already be providing a retirement incentive probably to try to avoid reduction in force or something like that. I hope that this money keeps on coming, but I'm also realistic that we don't also add an additional cost on it that we can't absorb. Thoughts? And like in the county, we floated the $35, the $7,000 number, and I think they were comfortable because again, they're going to move their cap. They don't pay based on sick. They pay their sick days out at the regular rate, but they cap it at 5,000. They would move their cap to 7,000, or whatever we decide. Philip.
I understand what you said about we have a bunch retired all at one time. I understand that, but I don't feel comfortable leaving less than 40 myself. I would rather have the 50, but I would settle for the 40.
Jay.
I agree with him.
Go. Les.
I mean, I think they, do deserve, but again, with us, I don't think we could do anything above 40 in this right now. I mean, the 35 to 40, I just don't think we could go above it at this time. I mean, I would like to see that, like you said, change depending on budgets and, stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I know they deserve it. I mean, it's not what we're saying at all, but it's just looking at the big picture of, like, when you look at this.
Put a modification of the policy on the next regular meeting, $40.
And I said $40 still capped at 200 days. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think.
We need to change that.
Okay. I just want to make sure that.
And probably, like I said, please run that by the county and make sure there's going to be no strong objection to that. I don't think they did, but I just speak now and forever hold your peace.
Effective date.
There are going to be 2 people be highly upset.
I'm assuming the effective date would be for anybody retiring at the end of this year.
And beyond.
Moving forward.
Right.
Unless there's any legal issue with us doing it because of something, again. I don't think there would be, but that's why I'm not the school attorney.
You're talking about her in the red. And it's not really going to affect all of them. Neither one of them have 20 hours. And even at 40, I think that the information you give us, I think we're still probably lower than some of the school systems around our area anyhow, at 40.
We'll move, right now, at $20, we are low based on what I shared with you. If we go to 40, that will move us, 3 divisions are 50, 1 to 25%, doesn't exceed $5,000.
That was 30.
One basis, so it'll move us from the bottom into kind of into the
At least in the middle of the pack.
playing field
Right.
with the others.
We were definitely the
We were the
lowest, and then, of course, I think it was land was at 25, but with no limits, so. Carroll was kind of the same. Most of them looks like a lot of them was 30.
I mean, yeah,
I'm happy to at least be able to make us more competitive with some of the surrounding districts.
And then a lot of money generated there.
that's scary. I
I
mean,
know, I mean, when you look at that. Yeah. It's like,
it's almost like their retirement and sick pay is inversely proportional where they rank in pay.
but even that's surprising to me. No,
That's a Montgomery County cast as 5.
right,
I mean, we've almost doubled that.
which that is surprising to me too.
Okay, we'll work on revising that and have that hopefully ready for you for next week. Let me skip construction, it's gonna take a little bit longer conversation. Summer school programs, and I'll come back to the construction. Summer school program, just so you're aware. 4-week program, gonna start June 10th, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 8:30 to 2. Except for the week of June 10th, they'll go that Friday, and the week in July, where the 4th of July is there, they'll go on that Friday as well. So it's
June 10th,
June 10th through July 5th, I think is what the Friday is,
8:30.
8:30 to 2.
8:30 to 2.
We'll start officially at 9.
9, but they'll start getting loaded up and be 9 to 2. All the programs, high school, elementary, robotics, coding, summer exploration, I think I've got them all. Can code, all of them are going to be done at the same site during that 4-week period of time. And that's gonna be Giles High School. Macy's not an option to use because once kids are out of there, teachers are gone on the 6th and 7th, June 10th. RL Price is rolling in there and they're gonna start the demo. They're going to town. They have 50, what they say, tell me yesterday, 52 days or something like that. They're gonna work hard. June 10th to August, whatever. They're gonna work hard on that. So Macy is not an option. It didn't make sense to us to have the elementary at either Eastern or Maris Elementary when you're running a bus to bring high school kids here and you're running all the way to one end or the other. So we put it all centralized. And Brian and Shelley had already agreed high school was gonna be at Giles High School this summer anyway. So we felt that was the best option, do it all together, all at the same time.
gonna still hopefully get their gym floor done down.
Yeah, and there's how much you're gonna have gym floor work done, so I mean, there's other things that will go on as well.
Sounds good.
So I wanted you all to know that, just in case you hear.
We're gonna make it really special for the kids, and Ms. Bogus is very cooperative, where the teachers are already used to bringing their things to Macy anyway, so they're just gonna pack up their things and take it there. And we'll make some concessions for the little ones sitting in the big desk, but, I hope, we haven't asked her yet, but I think it'd be really nice if our kids got exposed to the Ag Lab farm while they're there at Johnson High School, all the kids in the county. Maybe, water the plants out there, do some ag stuff that they're not exposed to, I'm hoping. Haven't talked Ms. Studding or Ms. Walking or any of them into it yet, but hopefully we can work something out even if it's for a week. So we're gonna try to make it really special.
Are you staffed?
Yeah.
So what you got,
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's staffed and we start again, doing it all at one time. All right, the first thing I wanted to, on renovations, I sent you the presentation that them did with the committee, with the county, 2 board supervisors, with Philip and Jason. I don't know if there's any need to go through it, but I wanted to at least have it up here in the event there's anything you all want to talk about for all the projects. We talked, I mean, each one, in this presentation, there was a scope of work for each site. We'll add locker replacement there as well, once I talk to them. But that kind
Did we ever go back? The only thing that I think envelope wise that we're looking at is windows at Nares Elementary, because that's gonna be on the building. Did they go back and do that?
he was going to, I've not heard back from him, because he was also going to, again, there's Nares High School, there's Macy. What he was gonna look at Macy, phase 2, was the feasibility of extending the second floor.
Yeah.
And I believe, based on just preliminary information he said yesterday, to extend that second floor, you'd have to do a lot of demo work, and that
It's not getting cost savings versus.
So you don't think there's gonna be cost savings there. He's gonna officially send it to us, but he hadn't sent it to us yet. There's elementary, I'll ask him about I'll remind him about the windows, and if they're gonna include those in the proposal as well, to make sure.
The yellow, Nicole, and the green
Yeah.
is what, definitely the yellow is what we plan to do, replace the outdoor buildings. We'd probably do the green, gives you 6 classrooms. The bottom would be if you added 11 or
Yeah.
12.
We're gonna run into some, and I don't know how they're gonna address it,
Oh, thank you for making that bigger.
technical, some problems, you won't be able to see it here. As you know, here and here, the 2 units sit, preschool units. There's also, we don't know if this is gonna occur yet. But right now, there's also an awning that goes all the way across here.
Yeah.
And this awning here, this side, it sits off the building. Back here, I'd have to see, I guess it's right about here, starts right about here. Back, butts up against the building. there's a set of glass block in that stairwell here that is partially covered by that awning. There is glass block in these classrooms, on this one classroom, that's partially blocked. The top 3 courses of that glass block, about 18 foot and a half, 2 feet. So ZMM is looking, talking, figuring out how we're going to address that, because that's gonna be challenging for the glass people to get in there and replace those. This one we know they're gonna do. The one behind here is gonna be the question, how they're gonna get to it underneath the awning. So, and there's a set of glass block on this. When you walked into the stairs upstairs, and you look, it's on this, just right here.
Let me ask you though, if we do the additional,
If
you
you have,
do the additional, you're not, I mean, not that one, but if we do this phase 2, that awning's not gonna be necessary anyway, because you're not gonna have anybody walking in the weather. We're not using that as classroom
you wouldn't
space.
use those as classroom space, so yeah, that's correct. So the awning could be gone, but again, we need to know how feasible we're gonna get here. Whether is this 100% guaranteed gonna occur?
No, I think that's a serious, that's a discussion we gotta have with the county next, but I think.
Because that awning again comes to, I think, right about here in that classroom, it goes here to here. Because the ramp runs here and goes in that second door.
I think we've gotta get a commitment from them that they're good with us moving on. I mean, we've gotta replace those four classrooms, they're the modular, so.
So if this occurs, then we could do they could take apart that awning over top of the ramp, and we would just have to make sure during the wintertime that the ramp is ice melt put down on it, the non-skid tracks, et cetera, put down on it. But yeah, that's key to know right now. But that gives, again, I can talk to try to answer any questions you may have. Again, we sent this information to you, just so you were aware. That's, Macy there, work. I did receive, a rendering of the outside of Eastern. I need to remember to share that with you to kind of see as well what it looks like. But those are the projects we're talking about right now. And with the Eaton Ayers Elementary, as Mr. Buckland mentioned, we need to add window replacement there. They need to review that, because that building also has that cow wall system, and that needs to be dealt with and taken care of.
And I hope that whatever they're using to replace it is, that cow wall system was what they said 25 years ago would be the greatest, latest, greatest, and now same firm's telling us to replace it.
So I've not sent this back to you, but this has been updated. That has been updated. It's not updated in this picture, but it has been updated. We do have the updated for this, and it was split evenly, whatever the distance is, 10 feet and 10 feet. 10 feet, 8 inches, 10 feet, 6 inches, or something like that. But it was split. We asked them to split it even between this and this. The storage room, the storage, and the sensory room. So it has been evenly split.
Okay.
It's not updated on that because I didn't really start a presentation on that, but I do have one that's updated.
The only comment that we got back since the meeting was positive, the only comment we had was from Mr. Morris on Board of Supervisors, who's the front entrances where we have the 2-story proposed. He's concerned that that the costs may come in higher on that, and want to make sure we have an alternative to get the safe school entrance, but something that may not be as striking as the 2-story, so.
But we were kind of trying to make it look, that was the whole thing, if taxpayers were seeing something that was,
Yeah, that was.
looked nice, and you could tell when you pulled up, this is,
And that's a conversation that Mike had with Randy's EMM in the event when these do go out to bid, if the bids come back higher, what can we do to get them more in line, basically.
And the other comment, he said he'd rather have money spent on elevators than the front.
Thank you. And there are going to be on both jobs and there's high school, an add alternate to add elevators
Okay.
as well. An elevator at Giles and an elevator at Nares. So those are going to be added into those two projects as well. But that's everything we've talked about with the six, with all the projects for each of the sites, each of the schools. Had our first with Macy yesterday, just updated there. We had our first, we had a pre-construction meeting yesterday. All the contractor, general contractors were there. I think it was 15 or 16 people there yesterday. There's already 4 Connex boxes. If you go by Macy, there's 4 Connex boxes sitting there. Those 3 of them are full. With fan coil units, piping, whatever, they're already there. And they're gonna start filling that 4th one up. They've got equipment and stuff that they wanna keep bringing, to get on site. But as I shared, June 10th, once we're out of school, they're coming in full bore. They're gonna start upstairs, start demoing, working their way down. They're gonna start replacing the fan coil units as quickly as they can. Then the glass block, when the people are gonna come in and replace the glass block and work on getting those ready as well. So. Questions on the sites, projects, school projects?
How close are we on?
I need to ask him. I did not ask him yesterday when I saw him. I meant to ask him and I forgot to ask him when Giles and Nares High School. I need to ask him that, so we need to get those out.
I think that's going to.
They do understand as well, all the contracts were told, once we get the contract signed, if they've got equipment invoice they want us to pay, they need to get it to RL Price so they can get it to Randy, so Randy can approve and get it to us so we can pay it out of the extra money.
Okay, good. I think once we get the bids for the big parts in Nares and Giles, we'll have an idea of whether we're, what we can afford as far as some other things on it. I don't think we're gonna know that before we get those back. Hopefully it'll be like Macy and come in way under.
The 6 task projects we asked ZMM to do, to provide us information. See if I can get these to work. This is the access road to Giles High School. This is the first one. We've talked about it already, but ZMM kind of did provide a little bit better estimate of what the probable cost would be. This is if we were to put it out to bid and had somebody come in and do it. This doesn't include some other things that I'll share during the conversation as well. So you see what they project that the erosion control is going to cost. Site preparation, saw cutting pavement, some earthwork, paving, some piping, miscellaneous construction, and some storm drain water stuff there, and some landscaping and seeding. You see what they project. There's their total cost. What they think it's going to be if it was somebody else coming in and doing it. Now, last Wednesday, when we spoke to the county did share with us that they thought they would be able to help do some of these grading for this project. So that would come off the top of this, so that would be eliminated, that cost to do some of the grade work for this. So you can kind of see what the construction contingency, that's to cover any potential increase in the construction cost. Preliminary design contingency, that's to cover any potential increase in construction cost resulting from changes that aren't aware of. Please keep in mind that all of these proposals are based on them looking at just the GIS. So that's what, 5-foot contouring. They don't have any, haven't had any surveys done, so until the surveys would be done, that could affect some of this for any of the tasks that we're talking about.
I think we go ahead and look at getting the county on that, Jesse, and moving forward.
And you can see, that's what they straightened it up a little bit. Instead of coming in, Jay, as you remember, we had it up here, we kind of came in a little bit straighter this time.
What do you think, Mr. Williams?
Oh, I agree with you. They're counting it for half-assed.
But yeah.
Needs to be done.
Any other thoughts, questions? All right, this is the ADA softball field. Again, some cost for erosion control, some earthwork moving, asphalt. We've already got the concrete bumpers and that sort of stuff up there, so some of that cost will already come off. Landscaping and seating, you see the total cost of what they're talking about. Some of that asphalt that goes besides the parking lot also goes to 6-foot path, both sides of the bleachers, and also a path to access the bathroom. Talk to ZMM, talk to Bill. Again, this is based on GIS contours. They don't anticipate that this will be an issue, but until this survey would actually be done.
What do you think, Mr. Williams?
I think we ought to leave the pavement as a pad for right now, because you don't have to be. We don't have to do that. But definitely do the parking lot part.
Go ahead. Parking lot part. You're not talking about paving.
No, I'm just talking.
Yeah,
Compacting like a hard surface.
Yeah, we asked them to compact it last week. I thought we did.
Yeah.
So that they should be working on that, getting that area there ready. That's my understanding.
Wait on all the other stuff, because my understanding of existing bathroom is not gonna meet the specs either. No, that's what Bobby told me.
If that's the case, I think we look at the porta john. I mean, I think that's the cost effective. Do the compaction porta john.
Put porta john out there. That same parking area there can be used too for the.
Porta john should be there.
Okay. Just make sure it's accessible from the.
Porta john should be, was right here.
Where was that?
Yeah, it needs to be on closer to the, or be at the end of the parking lot, make a place for it there, somewhere in there. Might be,
As long as we get it left.
About the.
Well, that's what we asked them.
I was going to do the parking lot, put the signs up, do the same thing in the football field when we took them down. Level off, make sure it's packaged, put the handicap parking down at the ball field, on the side of the bleachers and up there too. And leave the rest of it, make a path on out to the bleachers around there, compacted, and leave for later if we do asphalt or concrete. We try to get them to do it in-house too.
You can keep it out there. need more paper.
Well, I didn't know whether you wanted it or not, so I made
I'm not complaining.
I made copies. I've got this one. Here's the second. I've got a copy of each one of them, for you. So what I'm hearing for this second one here is we're gonna have Bobby and them continue doing what they're doing on the parking area, right here. The stone, have it compacted, and make sure that the handicapped bathroom is accessible, the porta john.
What have we spent on this? I just want that number.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I get David to get it for me. I can tell you.
Thank you.
Cost, how much we spent on putting that in.
Here's the first one.
Make sure I got an either like that. Or we're gonna do the one down at the football field. I ain't put the handicap spots back at the football field.
That
Tell you what, when fall comes, if they came, handicap people can drive up from the park. We some unhappy people.
I don't think anybody said that they weren't gonna be able to park there, but again, that area is not, compacted or set up like this area is currently.
No.
And it's just grass, and with those handicap signs on it, we probably are.
No, it's stone down
Well,
there.
it's just,
There's no stone down here.
Stone down, down those bleachers it is. I'm not talking right there behind the bleachers, on there where they've been letting them park.
It's grass.
No, it's stone.
there's some stone, well, there's no stone now. It's worn, I don't think there's a lot of stone there, but.
We're more down, but it was
Right.
stone good at one time, all the way up there. And they let the handicap people drive up our park during football games.
Terry, and what I was saying last meeting we were talking about this, sometimes I know what our architects are saying about that these things may not meet handicap, but if we've got that 2-year grandfather where we don't get into trouble for having it, I think if we're gonna take down parking, handicap, all that stuff is stuff that we get hit with as board members, more so than it's stuff that doesn't advance the ball education wise, but stuff that people complain to us about. So from the standpoint, if we're thinking about taking down handicap parking, if it's grandfathered in before we take it down, because we can't now put it back up without potential liability. So that's what I want.
We won't take out anything until we talk to you all.
All right. That's what I want. And again, that's where I was coming from on that.
I mean, I just think we need to at least put the signs back up and make an effort to fix a place where there's parking at football games.
Let's get us. I think Ms. Price would feel more comfortable if we got the cost of what we've already done, and then look. Let's get the cost of what we've done, the cost of what it would take to get the compaction done, the stone compaction, to make sure that before we start pushing forward on the football field part of it.
Yeah, and I just want to be super clear here. Like, our time and treasure, the things that we are beholden to these students and the facilities and the policies, and we've spent a lot of time talking about handicap signs and parking lots, and I'm just starting to get really frustrated with the amount of time that we are spending our expertise having this conversation. These are huge numbers. We're talking about we've got budgets to worry about and things that really impact education, and the handful of people that are complaining about this, I care deeply about them, and I want them to be satisfied, and I want them to be able to watch our sporting events, but I care a lot more that we spend our time talking about the things that matter inside of these buildings for these students. I'm done with the conversation about this.
Well, I apologize to you, Ms. Price. The handicap people need to be taken care of too.
100%
They're the ones
they do.
paying the bills. They're paying these bills too. They're like they're.
100% they are.
I'm not asking you to do all that. That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Both of them is ridiculous, really. And we can't, a little task like that, we can't get it worked out and done. Is it asking too much to fix that parking lot for the handicapped people and fix the one back down the football field with the signs down? If we spend over $5,000 on that little thing you done up there, I'll eat it.
Like I said, let's just look at, see what we spent. Everybody feels comfortable. Go ahead and get that done. Yeah. report on that next work session. Does that work for you, Mr. Reed?
That's fine.
As far as the parking down at the football field, Jay, no, they've been parking there ever since I've been in high school, and that's been 36 years ago.
Why we touch it? Why we leave it alone?
Then, what's wrong with it now? Just because you ain't got a sign there, they can still park there.
Handicap people goes up on the park spot, they took, they got more park.
Everybody goes up there is handicapped.
No, not everybody.
Not 99% of people go up there
Most of them are, you're
handicapped.
right.
Yeah,
Most of them.
because they can't go through the gate unless they're handicapped.
We didn't have to do nothing down there. All the guy asked for was a flat spot to park, and poor John.
Well, and we give him that, so I'm like Nicole, we got more important things to worry about as far as education goes.
I worry about everybody.
Well,
Taxpayers too.
well, you need to, but when it comes to a point in time where we're in education to educate students. That's what we're in here for.
It's all got started, had a simple request. It's all got blue come out of post.
And they put the gravel up there in the Porta John.
Yeah, where that $5 hit the cars.
All right, we're gonna look at it and talk about it next work session after we got some calls. We'll talk about it. All right. Next one, Terry. That's based Eastern.
This one is Eastern. This is the access road at Eastern.
I will say, Mr. McCoy and I Thursday morning, said that was a good example for letting those kids come off there, leaving from Macy, or from Eastern to give us a good taste of the problems there in the morning.
Again, kind of gives you an idea. Proposal, erosion control, site prep, earthwork there, some pavement costs for paved surfaces, directional areas, paving the lines, etc. Site preparation for a gate, some traffic signs, and then some storm drainage and water. So you see the proposal there again, what they anticipate the possible cost would be for that project.
That does not include land. We've not approached land acquisition.
That does not include any land acquisition at all. No.
And I think our last conversation was she was open to either a swap or would give us a purchase price.
I don't think, I'm hearing a swap's not.
I don't think she's not interested. No, swap is not an option, I don't believe.
So I think the next step on this, and it's your district, Mr. Williams, but I think it's to talk to the county about, show them what they've got, to see what the county could do, or whether this is something we're gonna have to 100% contract out, because that's gonna tell us the cost. What we're thinking on land acquisition, and then I think between both boards, see if that cost is worth it, because I do think it's a safety issue. But again, well, I think we're gonna have to examine the county's appetite, because it's, this is, yeah. Is everybody comfortable with that?
I'll say it now, it's ridiculous, $438,000.
Well, I think that's why we discussed, I think we have discussed.
How much do they charge us just to do this? Just do this preliminary work, how much they charge us to do that?
10,000 for this set, I think, just looking at it was
All projects.
All of them.
Look at the track.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Charlie Henderson do that.
Well, I think that's what we look at with the county on it.
But that's all we did was ask them to give us a scope.
Mm-hmm.
How much they thought
How much
it
of
would
this
cost.
land acquisition, that one plan we had a while back, it showed just going straight up like this one does. But the other we had last time, I think I got it here, shows you going up, how much land are we gonna try to acquire, I guess what I'm getting at?
They would only
Just enough to do the road or that whole lot?
You're only talking enough, I would think, to do that road. It don't need.
And maybe just acquiring an easement.
It may just be, it might be just an easement. I think that was a conversation as well, that it could be just be an easement to get that and do that.
That's a $100 lot right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a $100 lot, and I don't know why they come all the way up on, they come way up the road to do it, instead of coming straight up to the lot up.
You got this bunch of tree stuff, garbage here.
They stayed away from that.
They stayed away, that was
They're
rocky.
gonna take that down.
Yeah, but it was rocky and that sort of stuff. I thought that they were staying away from it.
Ain't no rock in there, Terry. Ain't no rock number in that place. I think it's been over several times, but I know why they curved it around and took up more, having to buy more of the land.
And is that all she still owns that lot, and that's not the credit union lot?
Credit union lots.
No, credit union lots above.
Okay.
Credit union lots, I understand they
So-
have 200,000 for it.
So what, do you want me to share this plan with Chris?
Yeah, share, now let's talk about what the county could do, because I mean, I think that, like Mr. Williams says, that's a lot.
It's ridiculous. So maybe look for another engineer. They get paid.
And you know, maybe some VDOT grants or something like that.
No, I asked, I've already asked, they,
Good
I guess it's not. Safety, I thought some safety money maybe. Chris said he told me what. Could be. They get paid by the commission on how much the total project costs them.
Funny, isn't it?
Do you know?
No, I was handed to
Just making sure they're all the same project.
No, that's all the same one. This one is. There's high school track grade, this is just grading the track. You see the erosion control cost potential. I spoke to them, to DMM, and had this cost here for site prep upped. That dollar amount was increased to that 37,000 because the quote that was shared with us last week was between 27,000 to cut down the trees and leave them to $40,000 to cut them down and remove them. And they were still waiting on a third quote, and I've not heard what that third quote was.
And Terry, I'll say, I talked to Mr. McClarney a little bit last week after that. I think Mr. Williams did too.
I'm sorry, there it is right there.
You know, for this to even be feasible, what we gotta look at and then we gotta be comfortable with is we can't afford retaining wall, we can't afford that type of grading. What he suggested is we look at taking the top part of those trees out, leave the stumps. The ones that are right next to the track, but leave the stumps on the thing and do a little bit of stabilization, but and see if we're acceptable with that. Because otherwise, I mean, you're talking $1 million and a half dollars for a track. So I think don't even waste your time looking at the grading part of it. It's going to be the track itself and doing something that the county would do. You know, that he feels like his board is supportive of it because it's, frankly, as he said, it's kind of embarrassing for the kids running on that. But again, that's a pipe dream. To do $500,000 of grading work and then spend another $400,000 on it. Yeah. So if we could get to the point where we feel comfortable, I think the county is supportive of us doing that and spending the money on the track to do it. But I think it's going to be something it's not going to be 100% ZMN stamping off project. And there's some risk with that.
Well, Chris suggested when I looked at it, Chris suggested both of them just cut the top row of trees. One was affecting the track right now, just cut that top row, not a third of them probably. Cut them down and stabilize a little.
But if we, and that's a conversation we need to have about Giles High School as well, that I'm gonna share with you. If we're gonna put the rubberized surface on that track, you don't want those pine trees there because any of the needle blowing on that track is just gonna deteriorate that track.
Well, as I was told that a backpack blower would be a good investment.
Well, that's.
And I'm not, it's serious. I mean, I think at some point, spending $50,000 versus.
I don't disagree and that's what we talked about.
And I think, that's the thing too. We've got to, as a board, have a commitment. We're about to spend $60 million of taxpayer money, and the county's got to understand that us and the county, going forward, we got to maintain this stuff that we put it in. I don't know that always that we do it, you know, and it's not saying here, but sometimes at the school level, folks that use it and are the biggest beneficiaries of it is some of the biggest ones to not take care of their stuff, and we need to make sure that that's clear, because we're spending money now that we'll never, ever, well, not during our, I guess, work time or on this board, will we ever approach it again.
So what I think I'm hearing from you is that we're not even gonna talk about task 4 because that's not an option?
That's not an option. Anything done with that track's gotta be done within the existing, with what Mr. Williams was talking about, a scope of taking some trees.
Well, I like this, Chris suggested really we'd be probably better off going just contracting our cut.
Okay. Well, and here, in my mind, that's a safety issue anyway, to get those, you've got pine needles going down on the track where kids are running, you've got, in the long jump pits, it's a deterioration safety issue as is.
I suggest we try to get a couple closer, just cutting, find which trees you want to cut, mark them, and get too close to cutting the trees. At least get that out of the way this year.
But no stump removal, that would keep that stabilized a little bit.
Yeah, so.
Get a couple quotes on.
Well, that's what those quotes were. $27,000 was to cut the trees down and leave.
All of them are tree, we ain't gonna cut about a third of them.
Yeah. Okay. Again, that's what.
Cut the 3 rows up, I think, we'll remember. Cut the roads up next to the track.
And probably those hardwoods right next to the
Up
there on top.
Does that mean trees?
There's about 65 or so, 70.
As many times as I've been by there, I just did not realize that many trees.
Those pine trees just blend in.
I guess they're just where they're layers of them.
So you're talking about the row that's closest to the track.
Right.
Cut down.
And it's hardwoods, like Jason said.
Yeah, yeah. And the hardwoods are in the curve.
Yeah.
Don't be doing while we're doing it. Them are the ones that, the leaves fall out of them for his house, somewhere anyway. At least get that done, and then we'll try to work on, get some more done on the track.
Okay. So you don't need,
In the baseball field,
you don't need alternate 1. So we don't even need to talk about
no.
task 4, our alternate 1. All right. Here's the 5th. That 5th op, that task 5, that's the site, the track improvements. That's probably close to being in line, because the last quote we got from ACT to do it was $400,000, and that was 2 years ago.
Just going up.
And there's some problem, I mean, there's some added cost, contingency cost there that may not be there in the event we went this way. But that's task 5 is doing the track where it currently sits, redoing it, resurfacing it back where it is. This alternate task 5, alternate 1, that's moving the track. That's moving the track probably 20 feet, sliding it. But that doesn't towards the tennis courts. But that doesn't include any site acquisition. See this first one? That's just putting it back,
Where's that?
putting it back where it is.
What-
Resurfacing the high jump, the triple jump and the long jump inside, water lines, conduit for power.
What's the $33,000 difference between, okay, never mind. Well, yeah, I mean,
What is it, what are you saying?
yeah, I mean, this is cheap, it would be cheaper to move it than it would be cheap.
That is,
Yeah,
because
isn't that insane?
you're gonna have to go back and put a whole course back on, asphalt on top, if it's where it is.
You're gonna have to put a whole course of asphalt on new ground.
Well, you're gonna have to know because you're gonna cut, the only thing you're gonna have is the straightaways. If you move it, these are gonna be gone. The curves are gonna be gone if you slide.
Push.
You're gonna be pushing, so you're gonna regrade it. And
But alternate one is cheaper than
correct.
If you're regrading, I don't understand how that's gonna be cheaper than.
Because you're gonna have to, you're not doing as much saw cutting because the condition of the old track is, you just can't, you gotta do a lot of work on that old track to put something on top of it, is what I was told, what he told me.
It looks to me like you roll, saw cuts is a half a day. Or some man with saw, they cutting it. It looks like you come back, the curves, when you put it back, you put them back, you grade it with stone within 2 inches of the existing grade, but with level, stone level with the track, and then put 2 more inches of new stuff down on the new track. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I do, but
I don't understand how completely moving a track 20 feet is $33,000 cheaper than where you've already got it graded.
Maybe because in that far curve, you don't have to do any, it's just tear out, there's no
You're tearing out.
work done to that whole, corners 1 and 2 or whatever.
And in that 5-1 alternate, you've already done the tear out under 4 that we didn't talk about. You would have removed a lot of this under the 4th option.
This here don't have any grading on it.
Okay.
Yes.
If you do this option, you gotta add grading to it.
Yes, you don't, because you're removing the asphalt in 4A.
That was in that one.
So then you're going into that bank and all.
I'll bring.
What is this building on the left with the red?
That's a house.
That is a personal home.
That's the house right here.
See, there's a lot and then there's a lot beside it. It's
Okay.
about 40 feet in width.
Uh-huh.
And our fence runs to right where that
The
lot is,
property.
yeah.
Right beside.
you ever do any research where you like to get that log in order?
We'll talk about it, I mean, like to.
Well, the thing about it is if you move it, you'll get away from all the retaining walls, the problem you got on the other end, or the other end back here.
Yeah, because you're shifting it that way and this way, you're shifting it away from the trees as well. A little bit.
I don't know, it's gonna be, I was looking down there, it's gonna be a mess because you're gonna get those drain lines that you're gonna have to move. I think it drains pretty well as is, but on each end, right there.
Well, there again, we get the trees out of the way first and keep looking at it, working on it.
Yep, good
Get the
idea.
trees out of the way. That's a
That's
start.
what they got, it's all drainage, I mean, you're. So,
It does look, your drainage good out there, really.
Yeah, I mean, you got those two drains right there where behind the goalpost and behind the high jump. Where those storm drains come out of? But they all go down to that corner and then all come through, drain out down there.
One comes out here, I don't know if this one comes out down there, I don't know where that comes out. I don't know, I have to look at it, I think there's something, I wanna say there's something down back in there, but I'm not sure. We'd have to look at that.
Or, these trees out of the way, talk to the county, see if they'll help with some of the grading and stuff. What about just spending money on the track?
So we need to I'll get Bobby to get quotes and just cutting the tops out.
Yeah.
or cut the trees
Top row
down.
of trees.
Top row of trees.
Mr. Buckins, you ever, whatever happened on the Mason parking lot that paying out that land already belonged to them?
Yeah, he told me, just so everybody understands, we were looking earlier, found out basically that the GIS was wrong. They actually do own most of that lot next to the upper parking lot. In talking with him, they will get surveyed to make sure, but in talking with the pastor, that takes care of all the land needs, because originally what they had wanted, they didn't want both, they wanted either or, and I thought, so, we want to keep that one as close to the cut through, so if we ever need to do it, so. Worked out well. Even though it would be nice to have to sell people land they already own.
Right, are you praying pride yet?
All right, just so everybody knows, what's the total number on that?
1.2,
1.2
just
million.
under 1.2.
I think,
And keep it, this is going the whole field. I told them not to assume that the infield was correct.
Right.
So this is including the whole field, so that's infield, outfield, and with this, you've basically got a retaining wall because you're right up against the building.
I think we go back, talk to Coach Elby, Coach Lowe, just look at what they want done from a standpoint that would be reasonable. Because 1.2 million is not very reasonable. But, if we need to do something, I think before our reluctance, the holdup was getting that sediment erosion. We're gonna have to pay for a stamp to get that. Let's see what would be helpful to help that situation, but without breaking the bank. It's something, again, that I think that the county, if we do something on scale, the county might be able to do some of that grading versus to where you get something done for our minimal cost.
I agree. All they was asking for when I talked to them, but I was down there just to get that infield level up, so, or the outfield rather, center field. He does run uphill by 4 foot.
It does.
If you keep it under an acre disturbed, there you want to get that permit.
It was what, 10,000 square feet?
Yeah, that's what they told us, 10,000.
No, the acres are sediment erosion of the stormwater permit. Acre, if it's under 10, the county can issue it. I mean, if it's 10, but you get over an acre, then you gotta get a state permit.
But we can be under an acre and be without a state permit, but we've got to get an engineering stamp if we do over 9,999.
Okay.
So, I think that's we look at that to get some sort of compromise on it.
So we need to talk to Nares High School, Coach Helvey, Coach Lowe, Brian, see what their thoughts are.
Yeah.
What they're looking to get, how much, and then we'll have, because at some point in time, if we're gonna go over disturb more than 10,000, we're gonna have to get.
All right, we look at that point rather than, if we were building a minor league baseball stadium and the county, I feel comfortable spending that over school system.
I agree.
And you're still not gonna have lights. Spend all that, you still won't have lights.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
We can get by with all those outdoor lights. The ones that got at the courthouse light up.
Oh, okay. All right, that'll work. Let it hold theirs.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of numbers, so.
Gotta live in your means, don't you?
I tell you, though, this is the best I've ever seen. It's scary.
Thank you for all that.
So the only one that we're gonna need to proceed with is the first
But I think even that, we talked to the county.
one. County said they would go, Chris said they'd help, help.
Yeah.
Don't stress me out.
So.
I'm good. I'm on blood pressure medicine now, so I'm good.
So I'll talk to Chris at some point, see what we need to do to get at least task one, the access road there at Giles moving along. If we need to get ZMM further into it, I'll let you know. Task two, softball field, just make sure that I understood, and softball field, we're gonna continue compacting the stone that's there, make sure the porta john's accessible, and we're gonna get a cost for you so that you know what the cost was that will be done. Football field, we'll talk about at the next work session.
Yes, sir.
Task three, need to talk with Chris, see what the county can do to help us. But he needed, I think, that plan to start a conversation with the landowners, so, whether it's an easement, whether it's, we'll see where we go.
Yeah, that might fit, we would have curved that thing around and brought around that left side, that's where he'd love more than a good lot. She may want to move forward now, that's that. Yeah. If Philco gets $200,000 out of the fire, there's a good right there too. They're good.
Task four and four alternate, we'll need to look at, don't need to worry about it.
Correct.
We'll get that one. Task five, the track, track replacement, track improvements. So I need to get closer removal of the top row of the trees along the track. I'll get 3 of them, get Bobby to get 3 of them. That's the pines and the hardwoods. And then we'll go from there, see what that quote is.
Yes, sir.
And then I'll talk to Chris to see if there's anything that they can do to help with any grading there as well.
The other thing I just thought he did our, the fence or Giles High School with the baseball field. It already in the works getting worked on.
I have to ask Bobby, but I don't know if they gave us quotes or not. I'm not.
The fence.
I know what you're talking about. But
And I think there's some trees there.
Well, that was the next conversation I was gonna have.
One thing I'm thinking about too, tech center, for that roof replacement, you might wanna look at rolling in that. Have we ever put the gate in to the trust property?
Yeah.
I think there's.
Mr. White told me this morning, yeah, I asked him about it.
Okay. Just if there's anything we need to do that fence, I mean, as part of those, because that's.
And task order 6, need to talk to Coach Helvey and Coach Lowe at some point in time, see what they actually want to accomplish there. Talk to county, see what they can help us with grading, and then we just need to keep in mind the 10,000 square feet. Moving the dirt, if we get over that, we'll have to get a stamp. Jay, in regards to what you just asked, the trees, there are, as you know, there's a line of pine trees there between the football field and the softball field, the baseball field at Giles High School, next to the scoreboard. A quote was received
or received to take those down, $8,500.
To take all of them down? Stump removal too, or just cut?
That I don't know, I'd have to ask Bobby to be sure, but
I was gonna say no.
I doubt it's stump removal, I just think it's a drop.
Yeah, they gonna find a good scoreboard.
Yeah, they've already got the scoreboard, they're replacing the skins on it before football
See,
season.
that's that pine trees work on that scoreboard pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I had talked to Shelley and Ms. Bogus, last week to see if that's, and I've not heard back if that's the direction that they exactly want to go, taking them down. But that was the cost, that was the first cost we got.
I get 3 quotes on it too, for somebody.
Yeah.
They don't serve as a windbreak anymore.
No.
They done cut the limbs up so high.
Yeah.
Well, them Beatles are good, get on the tractor job.
They are.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are. And they did, I did ask, happened to be talking to ZMM, and I did ask him, I won't be able to quote to tell you the kind of tree that he recommended putting back up there.
Shed. Hurry.
If I can find it quickly.
Them pines were tree 50 years ago. Forest, Jenny's part of the forest was given to us. And we're paying for it.
All they good is spreading pollen. That's all they're good for.
Yeah. That's true.
I'll ask Bobby, see if he's got any more quotes to take those down. And I'll ask him about the fence as well, see what that,
Matter of fact, Miss Bonner's one was telling me the fence got fallen there, I don't know. She's got that illegal fence work down there, baseball field.
Yeah, the top of it is curled.
She's,
Top and the
The
bottom.
top of the bottom is curled in, yeah, it's gonna,
Yes, they run over and cut right.
It's bad for a third baseman or a left
Right
fielder.
into it. It's-
I'll ask Bobby when I speak to him.
Terry, one thing just on the maintenance side, you talking about the scoreboard and stuff, that ivy or fuzzy or whatever it is in there is growing in, just make sure their maintenance is keeping track of that and make sure the football field on the scoreboard corner. And just make sure we don't get some stuff encroaching over to where it's gonna tear up the fence, tear up something. It's
You let it take over, it's.
it's done, it'll run everything it gets.
But just, I hadn't been over there much this fall, spring, but
I know they put a work order to get stuff cut for graduation, but I don't know.
just had to take a look at that when they're over there. You cut it at the bottom a few times, it'll eventually kill it, but you gotta stay on it.
That's all tasks and projects, I think, for now, that I have for now.
Everybody want to take a break, then we'll go into closed session and talk about these things, we've got time.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
5 minute
Oh,
bio break.
oh, actually, no, wait, there's the other item on the agenda there, the Eastern Elementary seventh grade promotion ceremony.
Oh. I didn't see that.
You can, thank you.
I didn't know if that was a closed session thing, or said something.
I sent you an email, based on the conversation that was held at the board meeting. You asked me to ask the reasoning behind why they did it, and I shared that information with you last week. The reasons that they felt that they wanted to, that they were continuing to do that.
Any discussion on that, any thoughts?
I Everybody I've talked to wants to go back to what it was.
All the parents.
I've talked to that, yeah. You know, I can't say I've seen better going outside.
I shared with you what he, again, Eastern, that he felt that, he's heard from students and teachers before about the anxiety of kids being up there on the stage, large crowds, the formality of, the ceremony suggests the kids should wear some semi-formal dress clothes and that sort of stuff. Typical ceremony is 90 minutes to 2 hours. They've got crowds, it's only standing room right now sometimes. Current format, parents and teachers have the opportunity, they interact with their teachers, they interact with the students, they can share stories, they can have conversations, share memories, get pictures taken with a photographer that they have there on site for them. It's good, they feel it's customized for each student. And again, granted, each student is not involved in the entire ceremony. They're there with their family members, etc. They can bring whoever they want, however many they want. They decorate their cars, they decorate signs, that sort of thing, get pictures taken. That again, that's the reason why they've done it and continue to do it.
They get out of the car and take pictures. And that don't take as long as.
Well, I mean, it takes.
I was gonna say that.
It takes a while to
take more time to do that than it would
You
be.
could do all the other stuff if you had graduation also, right?
Yeah, it sounds like the problem that they're solutioning for is the anxiety of, I mean, that's the one thing that is the differentiator between both of those experiences, right? Is some students don't want to walk up on stage, and there's probably something to be said for the learning experience of that and getting them to overcome that and how important that will be as they go into high school. But I don't know that, I feel like it's, right, the principals have this ability to make that decision for their schools.
I agree with everything you said, because I do think there's good value teaching kids, teaching kids to handle stressful situations. I think, the parents overwhelmed, it seems like at least the vocal ones are overwhelming support. We have, since I've been on this board, there was one time that we overstepped the principal's decision on graduation. That was when theirs was gonna happen on whatever we moved it to Sunday.
The track meet.
The track meet. I do not like to do that, but also I do not like when these situations occur, it almost becomes a policy because it's, I think it should be. Am I willing to go? If the rest of the board was willing to go and change it, I would go along. I just do have some reluctance to step on a principal's toes. That's wrestling with that.
I think we have an alternate, we have maybe a compromise that we've been talking about maybe. So I think a lot of it is, like you say, the anxiety and stuff like that and the dressing up, but I know it's also the experience and the taking the pictures and the memories and things like that. So I talked to Ms. Malkus, and I talked to, Ms. Johnson at Macy, and thought that, if we could have a compromise, if Eastern kept their drive-through ceremony, but before they go to Giles High School, they have an 8th grade orientation program, and that made it more like, hey, welcome class of 2000, whatever the class would be. But have it more like a ceremony where, like you would have the Macy kids come across and you would announce them and they would come across and they would have that experience, and then Eastern kids could come across and have that experience, and then, hey, you're all now Giles Spartans, and it would be more like a sit-down ceremony. I mean, if you did want it, that's a possible thing that we could do at orientation. Instead of making it an end, it would be a beginning.
Yeah.
And then we're all going to graduate together. We're all, we were Tigers and we were Eagles. Now we're Spartans, and have something like that. I mean, I talked to them and they would be willing to do that at the beginning.
Macy still doing the drive-through then?
No, it's only at school.
I think my whole thought on the whole thing about it, which it kind of always goes back to the kids, I think at this point, it's not really, it's about the friends. Is that when you're here, you wanna be with your friends, and I mean, that might be more in the, drive through, but kids want their pictures with their classmates, and they want their pictures with their friends, and, and I don't wanna overstep too, but I think it needs to be like a reconsidering thing.
Well,
That moving forward, that we try to, so give and take a little bit.
in, this argument that there's a lot of people that stay in the room only is another reason that it's that important to these kids, family members and the community, that they're there.
Everybody shows up.
And I've said it before, we are in the community service business, and that we need to support the community that supports our schools. And that's depriving the community that opportunity that they feel so important.
I mean, I just found pictures of Andy with her 7th grade graduation, and looking all over, it was kind of, it was just, that experience, I know it's for parents, but at the end of the day, it's for the kids. They want to be, they want to be, it's a big thing for them. Parents like to witness it too, but the kids, they look forward to it. I think it's something that we can get worked out, in the future,
I guess you said there's a reluctance to get board involved in it, but I think there's a strong desire that we get something for these kids. There's a hope that the administration might reconsider.
And I would say, Ms. Mustang, I love the idea of an incoming ceremonial opportunity. All the kids get that experience. So I think regardless of what happens with Eastern's graduation and what they decide to do, I think there's a lot of potential with how that could create an experience for students as they start their high school time in Giles. So I love that idea.
Because you're changing from
And it's like a formal coming together of the two schools, right? Which is unique to Giles versus theirs, and they are merging these two schools who the kids previously might not know each other, and so I kind of like that. Yeah, compromising. I love it.
Good job.
It's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea.
And it could be made into a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we may move forward with that anyway, trying to do something. And if it's something, Eastern High School could do that, welcome everybody into the building, but I just thought that, if we did get something worked out, at least we can have that type of, experience.
Is there some way we can get the feedback from the 7th graders at Easter without stepping on Jackson's toes of what they want? So I'm like y'all, I hate that little principle or anything.
Yeah, and it's, again, it's, and it may not be. We may be hearing from a vocal minority. I don't think that's the case.
But it is a possibility.
Mr. Turner will make a motion that we ask Mr. Mills if he'd reconsider going back to the traditional graduation because of the parents' complaints. Majority of the parents want to go back to it.
Okay.
I think the majority does want to go back to it. Well, I've talked to all of them.
Right. I guess we haven't scheduled this as a voting session. What we'll say, do we have unanimous consensus above this board to ask, based on our concerns, to ask Mr. Mills to reconsider? Is that fair?
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's freezing.
The man is too. The man is
Our neighbor's over there. Well, you turn it on.
What's that ham sandwich you promised us?
I am the.
Times are tough.
I offered, he didn't answer me. I offered about lunch and he didn't answer.
If I feed you, we'll be here at 3 o'clock.
I mean, I've done.
Oh, bloody, be all right.
One, I think last item was the, school nutrition summer feeding, before you go. What you have there is the updated monthly cafeteria account, tracking account, again, it starts, start with you have January, February, March, and, so you see what, that information there. You also have received the updated case count, accounting sheet as well. So you'll notice, for the March, above the last two documents, you should see one that shows an $11,000 increase, and the second one shows a $36,800 plus dollar increase.
What's the 32, what's the supply chain funds?
Supply chain funds is money that can only be utilized for purchasing milk and vegetables. So that was received, and that was included in that, the last one, and that was the.
Do we have,
So what you see, again, keep in mind, what you're looking at is, I gotta make sure that I'm quoting it correctly, you're looking at the expenses for the previous month and the revenue for, that's what you're comparing.
all right, in expenses, does that include everything?
Expenses
I
for the.
got a box, yeah, I got
Expenses
boxes.
increase from the previous month.
Okay. Does that, the expenses, does that include labor, that includes labor, that's everything, labor, food costs, everything, each,
Payroll, yes, payroll.
That-
Payroll for that month.
okay, that doesn't include that.
The insurance, we can do the insurance.
What I think for us to keep track of in the future is maybe, if we're putting this together as a separate spreadsheet, is if we put, add with $10,000 a month, but we add that, whatever that is, because, we're that month we made 11,000, we really made maybe 1,000, depending on what that insurance cost is. Everybody understands the insurance cost comes in, we do that end of the year, there's a lump sum, so. Do we have a handle now, do we know what each school needs to do, what numbers they need to do to break even? And what we need to do?
I need to run the calc tool for the, CEP provides a calc tool for that. I need to run that, the latest one, I believe has been posted, so I can, as soon as I get time, I can run that calc tool, see what we need to be.
I mean, I think we need to do that sooner. I mean,
Yeah.
What we've got to do as this board, I think what we need to feel confident with is we need to know for this year to make up as much as we can with a break-even number. If we're asking these cafeteria managers, the administrators to do that, we need to know what numbers we need to be targeting. But most definitely, next year we need to know, we can't take another loss like we've had this year. In the 32, what do we call that? Supply chain funds, how often do we get that?
Twice a year.
Okay.
And she'll carry that, what's remaining, I think it's what, 25,000, something like that. She'll carry that into, and use it again in May to purchase milk and vegetables. Part of this conversation that we need to have with this is, I'm sorry, I guess is there any other questions on what you have there?
No. How much are we saving centralizing ordering? How much have we seen savings in the last 2 months?
I've started noticing an uptick a little bit in the past 2 orders. I believe we're saving a little bit in centralizing orders. One of the things that I believe next year, and this is just speculation for next year, we'll reset our USDA commodity. We'll receive our money for USDA commodity, which is beef, turkey, chicken, cheese, vegetables, And, I believe we'll see some savings next year. I mean, that's a lot of money that we can utilize, toward our cafeteria programs. I know in the past, last year, the fresh vegetable portion of it was a huge, savings for us. I think it's 50-some thousand, that we were able to apply to our cafeteria program, school nutrition program, and saying that, to say this is, next year, we will not include, unless it's a special occasion option, but we're order those until we exhaust our commodities. We need to utilize all of our USDA money, that we can.
And I hear you saying that, but I also want to make sure that by doing that, we're not impacting the quality of the meal such that it decreases participation. Because I think that if you're gonna make these menu requests, I mean, if you're gonna use these commodities, you've got to make sure, because that's what I'm hearing, talking to folks, that there's concern that we save a little bit here, save 20 cents a meal, but you lose 50 meals, that there's not a break,
I believe we need to be smart in what we utilize those commodities in. As far as fresh food, that's a very big expense, but, I agree with you, Mr. Buckland, sometimes that's, I'm trying to say this in a very kind of way, the quality, we could potentially have better quality with our fresh vegetables. But the canned fruit, I saw a real positive response to that this year. We also received that. The cheese, we can utilize our cheese. That is also a huge expense. And I think we need to be smart with our menu items. Mr. Buckle, I agree with you 100% when we include those in. One of the things we did include our commodities in this year was a menu item, chicken Alfredo. That was a hit at some schools, and some schools it wasn't. So we utilized our USDA chicken with that. I think the biggest complaint that I've heard about our commodities is the actual beef, or the beef crumble. So I think we have to be very smart and get input and feedback from our cafeteria managers exactly how we utilize those.
I've got a question that's not so much in the weeds with the numbers, but about sort of like a long-term vision for the cafeteria. Is there an opportunity during the summer for us to, and maybe you all already do something like this, so I'm asking very genuinely, like an opportunity for professional development for the cafeteria managers to maybe learn new recipes, work with a local chef who can take a look at our list and give us some ideas that we could do at scale to, is that an opportunity?
It is, and I will say that for the 2 years I've been here, I've had our professional development opportunities for our school nutrition staff and managers.
Yes.
It is actually required. I have to get a certain number of hours of professional development. Our managers have to get a certain amount, and our workers have to get a certain amount as well.
Okay.
I hold that professional development opportunity at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
My plan is to expand that not only as a one-time, but maybe throughout the year. It comes down as we get into the year, a time factor. You have to reimburse the employees if they work over their hours and so forth, which is no big deal because I do believe in quality professional development. Last year, I did bring in an outside person from Bristol City who was a longtime school nutrition director, and we went over scratch-made cooking. That was my vision for this school year, was to increase our scratch-made cooking and to implement ways to incorporate that into our school nutrition program and not overburden our staff. I had Emily Cook come in and talk about school nutrition, healthy eating. So we have to cover a lot of areas during professional development.
Yeah.
I think my plan was to piggyback off of that this year and to provide them information again on scratch-made cooking. And I need to check with the the state, our region specialists and the school nutrition, Department of School Nutrition is really good to offer technical assistance and maybe invite them in to come in and speak to our staff. Mhm. And also, there is a region professional development that will be held this summer. We do it every year. It's through the state. They partner with a company called Chef Cindy. It's on money management. It's just on a whole host of topics within school nutrition. In the past 2 years, it's been remote, meaning we actually held it here. Last year, I had Raptor and Bland come over with us. This year, the state is requiring that we do that in person. So myself and our managers will probably go to some location in Southwest Virginia. I'm thinking Smith or somewhere in Abington. Yeah, are the two locations that are closest to us this year.
Well, I think the increase in the numbers looks really good. I mean, I just did the rough math, and it was about 50%, but 49% increase in all of the schools together, January to whatever this last month was, March is, I mean, it's definitely, a significant improvement in the numbers overall of meals being served.
And we've changed it up a lot this year from feedback and introduced new menu items. That was one of the things I heard menu burnout. We've introduced new menu items. We've actually, the high school and elementary school, middle school have similar menus, but they are different. Value the feedback and the information from our cafeteria managers. We've started meeting at least once a month to develop the menu. I will tell you for June, it's going to be probably a manager's choice because we want to utilize all of our items in our refrigerators and freezers and get those down to the lowest point. We'll also utilize those during our summer school as well.
My kids complain that they don't get enough chicken nuggets. But my babies like to eat. Robert said yesterday, we only got 5 nuggets, Mom, 5. And I was like,
they need to come through the line when I'm serving. So. I had an opportunity. I had an opportunity this week to go to Macy and serve lunch and enjoy that. Immensely.
I think we utilize the ag land more, grow more of our stuff, and really is the reason why we can't grow all our beef ourselves.
Mr. Williams, I agree with you 100%. I know the beef that we got, we're getting 2 this year. I think Mr. White and Mr. Townsend have put a plan together to increase that over a time period. We're slated to get 2 this year. We got 1 last year, and we were able to split that between all of our schools and utilize that in our farm to table week as a focused menu item. And I hope to do that again this year and to also offer it have another opportunity to offer it to our students as well. I believe a success.
Those numbers you give me, I think it takes us about 12 head a year. Take 12 animals a year to serve all first 100% of our beef. I believe we can meet that. If you want to buy a couple every year and just put them on feedlot.
I love the idea. So I've been working with Mr. White and Mr. Townsend to develop and refine that plan, and hopefully that's our goal. Now, as far as I'll just tell you, as far as vegetables and fruits and vegetables and so forth, one of the things that we're not at a scale right now to supply all of our schools. So I do believe that's a good opportunity to rotate around to our schools. I know we get blueberry, strawberries. I know Mr. Townsend grows potatoes, and I think I will swear to it, but I think he's planning on doing that again this year. Those are the items that he grows right now. I'm open to getting anything and everything we can from our ag lab. It's just, the quality's good. It's a good opportunity for our students and to benefit our system.
As long as you finish the beef right.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's my only concern is if we end up getting somebody that doesn't grain them and we try to cut costs and just grass feed them. It's.
No, they do, well, we know our school, I think, we get a kid, it'd be a little more involved in figuring out the
Yeah.
rations.
Yeah, I mean.
Him and the flour and do the weights and learn a whole lot from them.
Yeah.
There is no we can't swallow for beef.
I like to do, I mean, I don't know that it'll ever be possible, I'd like to do chicken, but chicken's a whole different animal, so to speak, finding processing for that. And to do chicken on the scale we would need, but, that's another commodity that chicken and beef and turkey, we utilize that, but beef for sure.
Part of that conversation, we need to have a conversation about our summer feeding program. Over the last several months, they've been working on coming up with a plan to provide meals to students this summer. The thought was we were going to do deliveries 5 times this summer, which would have provided basically 10 days worth of meals at each delivery. They sent out Mike, David, Katrina, whomever, sent out information to staff to gauge interest, to see who was interested in working, come to work, etc. They've talked to the food providers. They've talked to others who've sent out information to community members to talk about getting bags, paper bags to be able to put stuff in, that type of stuff. So it's a conversation we've had for some period of time. It's not something we just started. It started back probably in February, at least. Again, towards the plan, unfortunately, we don't have the staff that have said that they're interested in working to provide that service. We feel that we need at least 3 school nutrition staff at each site to be able to conduct it. And for whatever it is, differing reasons that for the summer. So
6 people. 3 at each site, you have 6 sites?
we would need at least, that's just 3 school nutrition people. Then you're gonna need additional volunteers, et cetera, to load, to get the bags loaded, load the bags up the next day, and then help deliver.
How many people you need? 6 more?
No, you need more than 6. No, you need more than 6, but we don't, right now, we don't have a school nutrition staff interested to prepare, to even be there on site to help people get it to a point.
And one of the things that we have to remember too is it's not just packing bags. So if you're packing fresh vegetables, if you're packing anything that has a meat item or anything like that in, you have to ensure that it's properly refrigerated. You have to provide cooking instructions on the bag. You need to make sure all that is taken care of. You need to make sure your milk is properly refrigerated. Then you have to, of course, bag everything. But you need to train all these folks, which is no problem. I mean, I have a plan in place to train, and that's everybody from school bus drivers to volunteers to, of course, the school nutrition staff, not so much because they already received the training and so forth. But you also, you have to do the site inspections and things like that. So with ours, see, I'd already filled out the application. I'd already done communication with the state. We were moving full force ahead to do this. We were receiving feedback on our application, and then, sent out a confirmation for workers for summer school and summer feeding. So we have 2 things going on this summer. We have our summer school or SOAR that will be taking place in June, the first week of July, and then we have our summer feeding, our non-competitive summer feeding. Got a positive response for summer school. I got 3 people for summer feeding.
You're doing 2 sites.
We were talking about doing 2 sites, correct? One,
What about using ACE kids?
they would have been included as
That
well.
would have been included, but we didn't know how many we were going to get. I mean, I think the comment was that they would give us as many as they possibly could. I know a lot of times, it's a great program, and we'll utilize them somewhere in our school system if given the opportunity.
They're gonna take, we've got about 60 of them this year. I think we've got 60 kids, can get a dozen, to help with this.
But even if we got all 60 of them, we still need our cafeteria staff, our school nutrition people to make sure that bags are packed appropriately, stuff stored,
I can't
etc.
figure out all you people, you can't get two people that would do that. I tell you, this is an important program, one of the best things we've done over the years. Any way at all possible to do it, pull it off, we did try to do it. There's a lot of them kids that one meal, that meal, they gonna get.
We've come up with a plan B. Mr. Williams, you and I had a conversation, we've come up with a plan B, and our plan B is to feed as many children as we can during our summer school, 5 days a week. It will be what they call an open site, which means daycare centers can come and take advantage of it. The public, parents can bring their children in. Now, adults are not free. Adults will have to pay. But anybody from 0 to 18 years old is available to have breakfast and lunch at our school.
For summer school.
For 4 weeks, yes, sir. I don't want to let this die. I believe in pushing this. I believe in this program. I'm just as passionate about it as you are. I believe we try again next year, hit the ground running, come up with something. I'd like to reach as many children as we can. We really invested a lot of time in this, and
I'm not saying that, I just.
Yeah,
I just find hard to believe all the cooks, we got our people got cafeteria, we can't find 3 others. It was, what, couple days, we helped them. I'm hard to believe that.
I had trouble even last year, and as a principal, a lot of our folks want their summers off, and they work really hard, and they need to reset, recharge. But I do have a commitment for summer school. I have right now, currently, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have eight folks, and for that, and this is a sign-up sheet that I use, and I can pass it around and let you read it.
Can they do that? Can they do first service while you said one delivery, one bus. Looks like they could fix these meals while they get the other 3 ready for summer school.
They signed up for the 4 weeks. They did not sign up to go through July and August.
I mean, it is a great, I've done it for time, but it's a job. I mean, just speaking like in the past and stuff, it's a very humbling experience and very rewarding, but some of the places that you go and, it's tough. I mean, like I said, we had our routine, we did it week after week, and you're talking adults, and there was times, it's heavy. Like, we went to a house that had 10 kids. That's 10 gallons of milk that you're loading, serious, and different bags. It takes a lot of volunteers. That's just on the delivery part. That's not like on the inside and what the schools are doing. And I know what I would see them bring it all out, put it down for us to load up and stuff. It takes a lot to make it successful and do it right. It's a big job.
I know we utilize, and I can't speak to what happened in Giles during COVID, but in Radford, we utilize teachers, administrators, secretaries, nurses. It was an all hands on deck type thing.
It's great, and it was places that we went. It was a need. I get it. It is definitely, and some of those, the hardest thing is the transportation getting out to get it. Some of these places we deliver, we didn't take it to them.
I thought we ran the buses, and the buses stopped and designated.
Well, that's what we did. Whenever we did that, that's what we did. We had 2 adults. Sometimes we might have a kid helping us, but as a rule, it was the bus driver and me and Katrina. And we did it, and it was.
Stopped it, we had a.
We did a I did locations I didn't even know existed. I went to my whole life.
I never participated, but I've never seen what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great thing. I mean, I know it's.
Great thing, it's also great revenue. It's also great
It
revenue.
just, you know, you gotta, it takes a lot of work to pull it.
And it's changed, it's changed since COVID. One of the things we'd already filled out the application, we'd already identified our sites. The state came back and said, we need a physical address or something for these sites. And some of our sites was Craig County line, one spot on the road. We had to whittle our sites down already from like 50-some down to, I can't remember, we had to take it down to like 30, 35 sites. So we were having to adjust our drop-off points, to satisfy the requirements of the state.
Well, I wish we'd talk to the cafeteria people again and try to get them to pull it off. I'll get you volunteers there for food.
I mean, I don't know, again, I don't think the volunteers was the issue. It's,
No, we need to talk to our staff and make sure, I mean,
we can have a conversation again.
Again, I don't mind go back and ask them again. Again, we actually started this around the end of January, beginning of February.
And the thought is to pivot to offering this during summer school and offering it at Giles High School. That's 4 weeks, so the community comes in. Unfortunately, since we weren't gonna be able to do it, no, we can.
no, and we can't, are we gonna be able to get congregate, were we able to get a congregate application in?
I'm working on that right now. I was able to
They
pick.
told us we could.
Yeah.
But he's got it completed.
I mean, one year back years ago, they run the bus, and they kids that brought to school. For this, I'm pretty sure. That's something possibly be done at least. Something, they run the bus, run a couple, 3 buses and pick them up, bring them, feed them and take them back home. That's something possibly. I didn't say to give up on it right now, it's.
We did that before at Mary's High School.
Yeah, we did, but I'll be with you, we done it.
I mean, I think this whole board would say this is a very important program that we definitely need to do everything we can to support.
I guarantee you, up on the hill to do.
I can go back and ask our staff again, and we can sit down and discuss and explore the possibility of doing a limited bus run.
It's a money issue, and more money for them to come, with a little more money to come in for the summer.
We were already we were gonna pay them $20 an hour for the workers and up to 7 hours one day and 4 hours the next, and the managers were gonna make $25 an hour. So
$5 more hour, getting help, getting more.
If that's the board's wish, I can throw that out there. I can make it 25.
How do y'all feel about it? Whoever takes this off, some, in the next year, we're gonna get it improved, get back more buzz, but we need to try to do something.
I think you look at it, talk to them, see what it takes.
I'll work on some volunteers, see if we.
I think that's everything.
All right, let's take a break and we got to go in closed session if everybody's got time to work it.